Steven, and I'm back with the final Surviving Reelfoot, the Decennium deep dive interview. And joining me today is a person that you don't want to get between an advantage. It is Jermin. Jermin, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm excited, super excited to be here to talk with you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about my journey and what has happened. I feel like there's a lot that people don't know. I feel like for the people who were supporting me, like it was a roller coaster ride. They don't know what was going to happen with me. And like, I'm so excited to just tell my story. And like, there's some things that people don't know about what happened. So I'm the last one and I'm ready to give everything.
I mean, you have the final say. Like whatever you say is the truth. No one can come on here and disagree now.
Correct.
Danny's saying, I know this man doesn't have a shirt.
Thank you.
I mean, it was hard thinking, like, how do I introduce Jermin? I mean, on one hand, like, he's going for all the advantages. On the other hand, he's also the number one vote holder, or at least vote receiver of the season, with, I believe, 18 votes, nearly setting a Reelfoot record, to my understanding. I think you're just like 1 or 2 votes off. And let's be honest, the people who hold it got voted out and came back in, and you never did.
So I'm the legend. I'm the icon.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
So, Jermin, talk to me about how did you discover Reelfoot? What led you to decide to apply for it?
Well, so I played Outlast with my first LRG. It was a Survivor game. And then after that, I played Surviving Canada. And last year, I was just applying to a bunch of like LRGs because I just got into the community. I love it. Super excited. And I applied to Reelfoot because I heard like it's like the top tier. Like if you want to be something that's really similar to the real show, Reelfoot's the way to go. So I applied and kind of forgot about it. And then once they got back to me, they told me that it was a no. I got denied, and I was like super bummed because every show I've ever applied for, I got selected like right away. I was like, oh my God, I played a really good game in Outlast. Like, I really feel like I'm a good game player. Like, why would they not select me? So I was kind of super sad about it. But then they were like, if you want to be an alternate, let us know. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I didn't think, they would get back to me. I think anyone who got selected would just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they got back to me, I think in March, and they were like, hey, somebody dropped out. Would you be willing to do an interview? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do a alternate interview. But it was to be selected, and I was super shocked. I'm so glad they picked me because I had the time of my life. It was such a fun experience, such an awesome experience. I learned so much, and super honored to be a part of the season.
So kind of going back through your history, so you played Outlast, you come in second, you just missed being the winner. Surviving Canada we'll learn about soon because that season airs in September.
Yes.
So coming in the Reelfoot, what were you looking to change or do differently?
Well, the main thing is to win, right? I feel like I went all the way. I feel like I was deserving in Outlast. I feel like I did all the work. I brought my ride or die, my final 2 to the end, but I thought that I gave a better speech. And just like Hannah, I think we played the best game, but we lost by 1 freaking vote. Ugh. But to change, I was like, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to play pretty much the same. I'm going to be myself. But I'm going to have fun. Like, of course you want to win, but you want to have a good time. So that was my main focus. Just have a good time. I want to make friends because I don't have a lot of Survivor friends, Big Brother friends. So that was my main goal. But as the days are going on, as I was surviving, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can do this. Then I started thinking about winning. But my goal was to just have fun and just like enjoy it. I was a last minute replacement. So I was just like, I'm just here for a good time. That's all.
Do you feel like you achieved that?
Oh my gosh. Yes, very much so. Even more. Like I made so much new friends. I feel like I played the best game I've ever played. I don't think I'll ever play better than this. And oh my gosh, I feel like if you're really watching me, like you probably enjoyed this roller coaster ride.
I mean, I think roller coaster is a great way to describe it because you have ups and downs, and people are constantly coming for you, right? There was not a moment you were able to kind of let off the gas.
I don't think so. Maybe until the merge, when I finally got that 6-person alliance, I kind of was able to breathe a little bit, but I was still taking all the shots in that alliance. But it was fun. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was a great time, man. I wouldn't change it for anything.
So when you get the call on your cast in March, do you do anything to prepare for Reelfoot?
Nothing specifically. I mean, I'm always, I go to the gym like maybe 3 or 4 times a week. I'm already super kind of athletic. I'm very adventurous. I'm always traveling. I'm always doing things. So like, I wasn't like specifically preparing for it, but I was like, okay, I know what I need to do once I get here. I know I need to be social. I need to get out of my shell. I need to find a ride or die. So I kind of knew what I needed to do. So I just applied that once I got there and just kind of go with the flow. I wasn't like trying to predict the future. I was trying to like, whatever happens, happens, and I'll just keep going from there.
So you arrive at Reelfoot. Was there anyone that you recognized, or did anyone stand out to you in that pre-period before the game began?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. So first, I'm just gonna go off my head. So I recognize Debbie. Me and Debbie. Well, so there's a new series. Ascendance 5 is coming out this Saturday. So we played that in like January, and then we played Big Brother Chicago together. And in Big Brother Chicago, Debbie backstabbed me. She was the one who came to me for an alliance with Lance. Lance is like the first unanimous winner of this show.
Yep.
And she came to us for an alliance. She was a villain, and she backstabbed us. She nominated us, sent us out the door. She was a queen in that game. So I recognized her. I was like, oh God, another game. This is my 3rd game this year with her. I'm like, okay.
Wow,
okay.
Yeah.
This time I actually want to play with her. I want to work with her. I want to do well with Debbie. I recognize Hannah because I watched her in Outlast Season 2 and Jeff, both of them. And I was like, okay, I really want to be in a tribe with Jeff because Jeff, super athletic. I know he's going to be a great shield for me. And I know how to kind of like cater to him and help him mold his game because I feel like he was lacking that in Outlast for someone to like help him to know like, you're doing too much. Take it back, I recognize Sandra, of course. She was with me on Outlast Season 1, but we never really played together. She was on an opposite tribe as me. So we only met during like the earn your merge type of thing where we tribe swap. And I immediately voted her out because there was 4 people on my team and 2 people on hers. So sorry, Sandra, like I already had my people, so I voted her out. So we never really got to play together, but we knew of each other. People that just stood out to me were like Carl and Joe, big personalities. They were the ones talking. They were the ones just like taking up the room in the space. And I was like, oh my gosh, those people, like I envied them because I'm like, they're ready for this. Like they're out of their shell and I'm just like nervous, and they're just like chill. They're cool. Other people like Melissa stood out to me. I'm always looking for a female, like a power female player to like work with. So she stood out to me. Like everyone said, Blake stood out to me. He had like really good fashion. I think he had like a chain necklace or something. And I was like, okay, this guy's really cool. Yeah, I was just really kind of nervous because I know when I come into these games, I'm really like shy and like I stay in my shell, but I know I need to get out of my shell immediately. So, I was just trying to make sure I just wanted people to be on my Kiri, of course. We have to talk about Kiri, Surviving Canada. I was shook that she was there because she had posted like a Snapchat that she was in Tennessee, like literally like an hour before. I was like, what is she doing there? I'm in Tennessee too. And I was like, she's like posting like she's in Reelfoot in one of our Surviving Canada groups. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna see her at the camp. So yeah, I was just really excited. I knew like because I already told production like all the games I played, I knew that people that I knew were not gonna be on my tribe. So I knew like Sandra, Kiri weren't gonna be on my tribe, or Debbie, even though I wanted them to be. And yeah, I wanted Jeff to be on my tribe. Jeff was like someone I was looking forward to working with, but then Hannah was, so that was fine. Once we sat down and we got our group together, I was really worried. I was like, okay, I don't know anyone. I kind of know Hannah, but I'm not gonna lead in with that I know her. So I was just like really nervous. I felt like, okay, I'm kind of doomed because everyone that I really feel comfortable with is on the other tribe.
Now, let's talk about this original Kina tribe, right? It's Charlie, Ethan, Hannah, Melissa, Tony, Trinica, Melanie, Danny, and Joe.
Yes.
Looking at this group, where you're not feeling great because you're like, okay, everyone I kind of had some connections over there.
Mhm.
But what did you think of this tribe overall?
I loved it. We immediately clicked. I don't know what it was. We just kind of like communicated really well. I think it helped us to win all these challenges in the beginning, and I just felt really good. Um, so I knew of Hannah from Outlast 2, but she wasn't really sure who I was. Like she thought she knew me, but she wasn't sure. So for like the first day, I did not bring it up. I didn't want to lead with like, "Oh, I know of you. I'm a fangirl. Like, oh my god, you played such a good game. You came second like me." I didn't want to lead with that, so I kind of like let it kind of develop on its own. So me and her naturally just kind of gravitated together. And then on like the second day, and like in the afternoon, she came up to me and she was like, "Do we have a connection?" I was like, yeah, I think so." She's like, were you on Outlast? I was like, yeah, you were. I watched you. You were really great. And like we had already bonded just on, a personal level. So I'm glad that I didn't lead with that, because that let me know like I can trust this girl. This girl's someone that I can ride with, because I don't want to just be with you because I know of you. I want to know that I can really trust you and we can really rock this thing together. So I'm glad that we kind of bonded before we kind of knew that we did know each other, you know? Do you want me to just talk about everyone on the tribe, or?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so kind of like Tony, I'm very observant. I'm a Scorpio. I'm very quiet. I'm laid back. I like to sit back and just watch. So I kind of could see where the tribe was, and I could see that Melissa was the queen bee of the tribe. Like she was the one that everyone was talking to. She was like the one running the tribe, and I was like, okay, this is someone I need to be close to. So she was very important to me. I think Hannah brought me in to talk with her, and we had like a little trio going on. Like, let's the three of us be together. I want to be close to Melissa, because if Melissa's running the tribe, that's where you want to be, right? Um, let's see. Melanie, me and Melanie got together really well. Charlie and I think around day 2, day 3, we kind of started growing our bond. The boys like Tony and Ethan, I don't know what it is about men in these games, or the macho men. I just don't vibe really well with them. I gravitate towards women. Like Shauna said, I play a woman, like a female board game. So I wasn't really bonding with them. I was bonding with the girls. Trinica loved her, wanted to really go far with her and get to know her really well. Joe was very much to herself. She was getting the firewood, building the shelter. She was doing everything that she needed to do. She just wasn't really talking game with people. Um, yeah, I think I just observed that Melissa was the queen bee, and I want to be close to the queen, because if you want to be successful, that's who you need to stay close to.
And so did you focus a lot of time on trying to get in Melissa's good graces then?
I wanted to, but however, the first 2 days it was raining like hell. It was freezing. I'm from Florida. Warm, sunny beach.
It
I come
rains there sometimes.
It rains sometimes during hurricane season, yes. But not like this. Like we have a home. We have AC, we can stay, warm. But out there, it was like hell. I was like, what am I doing? I really signed up to be out here in this like jungle, shivering, cold, miserable. Like by day two, honestly, I was like, I was like really close to quitting because I was like, this is miserable. I hate this. I'm gonna do this for 8 days. Like, no. I didn't want to be out there. And I think it showed with the other castmates that I wasn't really into the game that first 2 days. I was just like really sad. I wasn't enjoying it because of the elements.
Mhm.
Now everyone's saying that Jermin was sleeping for 2 days. Can we clarify? Jermin was not.
Let's clarify some.
He was not sleeping for 2 days. What happened was I took a nap each day, and at nighttime I couldn't sleep. So is it my fault that when my body says go to sleep, that I chose to go to sleep? It's giving jealousy. It's giving envy. Like, you guys are mad because I was able to sleep in the day and you weren't. But the funny thing is, sometimes I was laying down, I wasn't actually sleeping. Like, I'm awake. I'm aware. I'm listening. I'm listening to who's by the fire, who's talking to who. I'm watching. It was not for 5 hours.
I can say it was a 5-hour nap.
It wasn't. If it was for 5 hours, I'm sorry. That's what my body chose to do. That's one of my favorite hobbies. So I'm not going to be out here. We're not going to work. We're not doing anything that we need to do. So I'm going to nap for the challenge. This is for the team. Right? So
Like I was saying, I'm jealous. I wish I could be on your level.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was just like I was tired in the daytime as opposed to the nighttime. And in the night, I just could not fall asleep. I was cold, I was miserable. So in the daytime I slept, but I was always aware. I was always watching, I was always seeing what was going on. And yeah, I wasn't napping for 2 days. I wasn't sleeping for 2 days. I was very aware of playing the game.
So what changes from day 2 to day 3?
The sun came out. And like finally, day 3 the first vote?
Day 3 opens up with Debbie getting voted out, and then you have your 3 tribal councils.
I think by day 3, the sun comes out, and I'm like, okay, now I can finally play the game. I feel good. That's when I started to I really bond with Hannah. I think me and Charlie started to develop a relationship, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to play this game now. So I think that's when I was sparked to really step up.
So I want to talk a little about some of the twists and advantages of this season. I first want to hear about what's your philosophy on idols. Are you actively looking for them? And then I kind of know where this is going, but are you actively looking? Do you want to have them in possession? Are you just happy knowing where they are?
Definitely want to know where they are. Mm-hmm. I'm not hunting for idols. That's not me. I am looking for firewood or whatever. I'm gonna be looking as I'm picking up sticks and stuff. I'm gonna be looking at the trees on the floor, but I'm not hunting for an idol, because that puts a target on your back. If anyone finds out, if anyone sees you hunting, that puts a target on you. So casually looking, I don't necessarily need that. I want to rely on my social bonds and my connections. That's the way that I play. I think it's good to know where they are, because then you can kind of control where you're voting and how things go.
But if there's an idol that's just at arm's reach of someone else,
you better get there before they do.
You learned that your season has redemption. Is that something? What were your thought? What was your thought about that during the game?
Positive thoughts, absolutely. We come out here, we all travel from wherever we come from, and it's I'm glad that there's no voting until day 3, so we actually get to experience it for a couple of days. And it's okay, you get a chance to come back in the game if you're voted out early. So I love that aspect. I love that we know about it from the beginning. And I think it's good, especially for LRGs.
You also have Shot in the Dark that's in play. What was your thought about that?
I'm indifferent about it, good, bad, whatever. It just makes the voting, you have to strategize more, kind of have a backup plan. You can't always just vote one person. You have to have like a.
Didn't stop people this season from doing that.
Those were bad. That was bad. If you didn't have a backup plan during each vote, that's bad. Because then, what if they hit the shot in the dark, which a couple people I think did this season. So
Carry.
Always have a backup plan, and like that was very important to me. And I'm sure we'll talk about why I didn't have a backup plan for certain votes, but I like it because it gives you a way to save yourself, and I don't like it because extra strategizing, I guess. I don't know.
And finally, you have fire tokens.
Didn't really care for it. I felt pressured to like give my fire tokens each round to the group stash because everyone's like, give us your fire token so we can go to the outpost. And I didn't want to be one of the people to be like, actually, I want to keep my fire tokens. I don't want to turn it in because then like that gives you a target maybe. So I was like, okay. So I felt like I was forced to give my fire tokens. I tried not to let that be like a big part of my game. Whatever happens with that. I don't think it really affected this season.
I feel like the outpost though did have an impact on your game, because at least you get that vote nullifier from that.
Yeah, I did.
And you used it probably the best you possibly could with the vote. So I think it was pretty effective with how you got it when you used it.
That's true, but am I a huge fan of fire tokens? No.
So your tribe wins a lot of those early challenges, right? You win all 3 of those opening reward challenges. You win that opening immunity challenge. I mean, do you feel like that kind of, and that in combination was like through those 2 rainy days, you feel like that just kind of gave you the time you needed to kind of get back on your feet?
Yes. Thank God we won all those challenges. I mean, it wasn't like immunity, but it was motivation. It kept us like happy. It kept us motivated. We felt good. It kept us united. It kept me motivated. So I'm glad we were winning those. But those are just immunity. I mean, those are just rewards. So not as important, but as far as like group morale, very good.
So when it comes to day 3 and you're actually able to sleep, it's not cold outside, it's not rainy, what is your laundry list like? Who are you focusing on? Who are you trying to talk to? You kind of talked about how you're connecting with Charlie, you're connecting with Hannah. Are there any other important connections you're working on forming through that 3rd day?
3rd day. So I'm working on my connection with Charlie, just getting to know each other on a personal level. Me and Hannah are growing very fast. And the second we find out that, we have this Outlast connection, like we kind of like commit to each other. I feel like at least I commit to her. I'm like, okay, because when I play these games, for me, I like to find a female player, ride or die. In Outlast, it was a guy.
I would say like Nick.
It just felt that way. But usually I like female players. I'm like, okay, I need me a Parvati. I need me a Sandra. I need like a strong female player. So me and Hannah were great. Danny was great. Me and him connected on a personal level. And I wanted to go far with him. Trinica also. And Charlie. Yeah. So it was Trinica, Charlie, Hannah. Those were my mains that I wanted to connect with. I wanted so badly to be loved and accepted by Melissa because she is the queen bee of the tribe. You got to stay close to the person that's running the tribe. So I wanted so badly to be loved by Melissa. Unfortunately, me and her didn't have a lot of one-on-one talks. It was always like me, her, and Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because I was sleeping or she was too busy with Tony, but every time I was awake, I saw her talking to Tony. I saw her talking to Tony and Ethan. I saw Tony, Ethan, and Charlie talking, and I just felt like, okay, try to stay close, but you're not on her, top tier list. and I just felt like we were shifting away, and I was like, crap, like I need to be close to this girl, but it's just not working out.
I feel like one of the biggest stories of this original Aquino tribe is going to be the formation of this alliance of six, the Sexy Six, right? And that alliance is going to exclude you, Melanie, Joe, and Danny.
Mm.
At what point did you realize, oh, this is a six working together?
The morning when I woke up and Melanie was like, "It's between me and you."
So day 4, you're just like, oh shoot.
Literally, I was like, "Oh crap!" Like I saw people, I could see the groups forming, I could see who's talking to who, but I didn't think there was like an alliance because that Sexy Six didn't really. They never really until that morning. They never really like were together, and that's like a very unusual group. You know, they all were kind of different. So it was that morning when Melanie was like, "Yeah, it's me or you." I was like, "Oh crap, I'm outside of the alliance. Like, this is not good."
All right, so let's back up a bit because we'll get there. So let's start with like because your day 3 is gonna be a very long day of a lot of tribal councils, and so you have that relay race, the charades. It doesn't go well for your tribe. Was Joe already the person you were going to vote out, or was there a lot of strategy going on that round?
Joe, I think, was like an initial target because she wasn't talking game to anyone, and she was kind of very to herself. I think she was just like an easy name. I don't think anyone was. I don't think there was like a lot of targets. I think it was just Joe, and at least for me, I was just like, "Hey, Joe, like, is there anyone else that you think we should target?" She wasn't giving me a name. She wasn't really targeting anyone, so I think it just kind of fell that way.
Was Joe your ideal first boot from the tribe, or is there someone else you think you might have wanted to target at that point?
I think so. She wasn't talking game to anyone. She wasn't talking game to me. I didn't feel like super bound to her. I wouldn't have minded to be one of the guys, but you know, when someone's not talking game to anyone, like you make yourself an easy target.
And given that this is kind of the first time like everyone's kind of up and strategize and the game has really begun, was this an opportunity to talk to anyone else you really hadn't talked to before, or?
I'm talking to everyone. I'm talking to everyone. Me and Tony at this point, I think we started having like he came to me and he's like, "Hey man, I know we haven't talked much, but I really want to work with you. I want to talk with you. We haven't had time to talk." And in my mind, I'm like, well, like nobody's around right now. We can talk right now. Like, do you not want to talk to me? So I feel like he wasn't really trying to talk to me, and I also wasn't really trying to talk to him. So I feel like that was just like lost words that were being said to each other. I was already working on my relationship with Danny. I was working on my relationship with Charlie, working on my relationship with Melanie, talking to Trinica and Hannah. Those were my people. I wasn't really trying to work with, like, me and Ethan were cool, but I wasn't really trying to work with him. I wasn't really trying to work with Tony. And I saw Melissa as the queen. So I was like, I just want to be good with her because I know whatever she says, that's what's going down.
So, did you know that there was going to be a vote split on Danny?
Yes, I did know because before that vote, Ethan came to me and he asked me, "Hey, we need to have a backup vote, in case she plays the shot in the dark." He's like, "What do you think about it being Danny?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." That was a bad move on my end. I was like, "Yeah, let's just do Danny," because I didn't want to show my cards. I didn't want to be like fighting for Danny and then votes fall back at me. I was close to Danny, but at that point in the game, I was like, it's them or me. I wasn't trying to make a target on myself. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's just do Danny. Because I didn't think Joe would play her shot in the dark. I was like, oh yeah, let's just do Danny. So we kind of agreed on that. I voted Joe, but I knew that there were going to be votes on Danny.
Mm-hmm. So Joe goes home in a 6-3-1 vote. This leads us to the Seal of Bacon challenge. Who would you go up against in this challenge?
I went up against Jeff twice. The first time, so I misunderstood the rules. I thought we had to run and like touch the ball and then reset. So I ran, I touched it, but I ran past it, and then Jeff grabbed it and kind of like ran back. I was like, okay, cute. Okay, I'm gonna get you next time. So then the next round, he steps up. I'm like, okay, I want my rematch. I'm going against, Jeff. So this time, I let him go ahead because I want to be like ready for him. So he gets the ball first, and then like I tackle him, and I'm like, okay, we're fighting for the ball and everything. And then like I'm on top of him, like gripping him, and then I realize like this guy is really tiny. Like I think I could pick him up, like, and I think I just carry him to the mat. So like I muscle up all the strength, and like I literally lift him up, and I'm like carrying him to the mat, and like he wrestles off of me, and I didn't realize the ball was heavy. I thought it was just like a light ball, so I was able to get him off the ball, but I was trying to pick the ball up, and it was like so heavy that I wasn't able to grip it. And he ends up getting it and wrestles it all away from me. He wins the second one, but like that was like a big moment of me carrying him that in that challenge. So we called it like the Jeff backpack. Yeah, so that was fun. I think I could have beaten him. But yeah, I didn't realize the ball was so heavy. It was like 10 pounds or like 5, I don't know. It was a heavy ball, so I wasn't thinking about that, and I wasn't able to pick it up.
So who would have been the person you would have wanted to target this round? Because ultimately Danny is going to ask you all to vote for him instead.
Yes. I do want to say in that challenge though, when I went up, I wanted to go up against Jeff for the third time. I was really nervous. I kind of realized my position on the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go up against Jeff, and I wanted to like tackle him down and talk to him in his ear during the challenge. And I wanted to be like, hey, me and Hannah are in trouble. Please, can you just throw this challenge for us? But I was like scared the third round. So I think Ethan went up against Jeff, and then we lost. But yeah, so for this round, my plan was to bring together me, Danny, Trinica, Melanie, Hannah, and like Charlie. So that was 6 to vote off one of the guys, which would be Ethan or Tony.
So it would have been Ethan, Tony, and Melissa in the minority.
Correct. And I wanted to vote off one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Was not going to go against the queen. You can't strike the queen too early, okay? Because we know she has a lot of power. So I was going to go after one of the guys, but then Danny came out and was like, he wasn't feeling well. He's going to go. And I was like, oh my God, like this is not good for my game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like one of my closest allies, and losing him, I think it was really, really bad for my game.
Yeah, I think he was someone who you needed to vote with.
I needed him because I knew he had my back. I knew he's someone I could depend on, and losing him really just shot me down into the minority really hard.
Mm-hmm. So Danny goes home, and then you learn that your next challenge, the gross food challenge, both tribes are going to tribal council the following morning. How are you at gross food challenges?
I've never done a gross food challenge, so I was like excited and nervous because I'm like, I've never done this. However, what are we eating?
Mushy rice baby food? How is that for you?
It wasn't that bad actually. Like it was okay. The baby food was tasteless. It was like there's no seasoning. It just tastes bland. It's not food that I'm used to. I'm Jamaican. We have seasoning on our food. It took me longer to eat, but I think people had already dropped out, so all I had to do was finish that round. And then moving forward, it was like tofu.
Tofu, yep.
Again, people were dropping out. Like each round was getting easier because people just weren't gonna finish or do it. And then we got to the worms. I killed that round. I was like, okay, I have to just throw it back and like do it like a shot, like just swallow it. Don't chew it, because if you're chewing it, you're gonna feel the texture and all that. So I did a shot, and I was like the first one to finish that one. And I wish that was the last round, because then I would have won immunity. But the last round was an egg. It was me versus Trinica, and I think it came down to like seconds. Like literally, 1 or 2 seconds. Like she finished just right before me. And that was such an important immunity for me.
How was it? Do you like 1,000-year egg? Or 100-year egg? Or...
By the time we got to that round, I feel like my taste buds were numb. So do I like it? No. But I think I'm gonna do like Carl next time and just swallow it.
So this is going to be a tribal council the following morning, so you have all night and next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the night first. Does anything? So who are you going for, and what are you hearing that night?
Oh my god! So that night. So the funny thing is, that night, I knew Melanie was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing everything in my power to make sure that Melanie was safe. I was like, what can I do to make sure that Melanie stays? That's my girl. I don't want her to go home. You know, I want to target one of the guys. I want to target Tony, Ethan, maybe even Charlie. And, you know, I'm just trying to think of ways to save her. And I think me and Hannah sit down with her and we're thinking of scenarios. And she's like, you know, I think she said, would we vote Charlie? And I was like, yeah, I'll vote Charlie. But I need Melissa's approval because she's running the tribe. I can't just do anything without her. I think Melissa was not going to do that. So I think we didn't end up doing that night and we go to sleep. But I wake up that next morning, well rested, ready to save Melanie, you know, ready to, you know, fight the battle. I wake up to Melanie coming to me and be like, yeah, it's me or you. I'm like, what are you talking about? In my mind, I'm like, I'm trying to save you. But she's like, yeah. But I realized like she was doing everything to save herself. Like she's a great game player.
Mm-hmm.
She was throwing everything at the wall. And like basically she's the one I feel like that was kind of throwing me under the bus to try to save herself, which is fine. You know, you got to do what you got to do to save yourself. But I was like, oh, so you're going to try to come at me? I'm not going to let that happen. So that's when I was like, okay, it's time to play. Let's play. I went around. I started doing my rounds and like pitching to people. And I was like trying to tell them how I'm better for their game. Melanie, she's sloppy. She's gonna throw you under the bus. She's gonna do what she needs to do. Look at the lies she's spreading. She's really close to Tony. Like that's not good. That's not gonna be good for you. Like these are things that I'm pitching to like Trinica and to Charlie and Hannah. So I think I did really well in my pitch. But that round, I realized it was between me and Melanie. I was like, crap. There's like a 50% chance I'm going home.
A couple questions. So you had that initial conversation with Melanie on night 3, right?
Yeah.
Where it's you, Hannah, and Melanie, and Charlie's name's thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
She goes and tells Charlie that you're throwing his name out, right? Does that get back to you?
Yes, I think it does get back to me now that I'm thinking about it. And that's when I was like, crap, like, I'm trying to save you, but you're throwing me under the bus. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you're dead to me. Like, I'm not going to help you anymore. So that's when I think I go around, I tell Ethan, she's spreading lies and she's saying this about you. And like, I started spreading things about Melanie a little bit because I'm like, I don't want it to be me, you know. I hate that she did that because I was rooting for her. It was like, Melanie,
well, this makes you really think, because like Melanie, I think she was tight with Tony, but maybe there's a world where you two link up and are able to flip it on Ethan instead.
That's what I wanted to do. That's what I was trying to do. But the second I find out, like, she's going around, she's like telling, you know, she told Charlie, of course I'm going to deny and I'm going to like try to protect myself. I just felt like, okay, I can't save you anymore.
If she hadn't told you, hey, it's going to be you or me, you probably would have just picked it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, because there was a moment where it was just me and her talking, you know, we were just by the fire area and everyone else on the tribe was in the living room. So I'm looking over like, oh, so they're having a meeting without us. Like, what's going on? I'm like, oh crap. It really is between me and you. I'm like, okay. Well, I know my girl Hannah's gonna have my back. I hope she's putting in that work. And I love Hannah so much because I feel like without her fighting for me, I would have been gone. So I'm really appreciative of her. yeah, I mean, I realized it and I was like, crap, like I need to find an idol or I just need a miracle at this point. I'm like, it's 50-50. And I'm just hoping at that point it's on my side, not hers.
Had you heard of any idol clues at this point?
No, no
Were,
clues.
and so did you go idol hunting this round, or just like focus on talk to people, get them to vote Melanie?
I mean, I think I looked around, but I'm not like scavenging for an idol. I'm just like trying to work on my social bonds. Like I do way better at talking to people and convincing and pitching myself than trying to find like an idol. No, that's not what I was trying to do. That was not in my brain capacity. I was like, talk to the people you've been talking to, throw Melanie under the bus, and let them know why you should stay over her.
So going into that tribal council, how confident were you that Melanie was going home?
I thought it was 50-50. I thought it's me or her. I was just hoping that my points that I was giving everyone was better than hers. Like, I mean, I'm here to play a game. If it's my time, I'll go home. But I made my pitch, and I hope it's better than hers.
So were you contemplating playing your shot in the dark?
No, because that requires me to lose my vote, and I felt like I needed my vote. I'd rather go home. Not, I mean, okay, playing a shot in the dark. That's smart when you know like everyone's against you, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I needed my vote. I feel like that was not the time to play your shot in the dark. So
yeah. You were just like, if they split the votes and they're relying on Melanie and I voting for each other, and I go home because I missed my shot in the dark, and Melanie's vote is the one that matters, so I go home in a 4-3, I'll feel bad.
Oh, 1000%. No, I would kill myself for that. Like, no. I'd rather fight and because like I said, I rely on my social bonds. So I rather like fight with my words than to rely on like a luck type of thing.
So talk me through the start of this tribal council.
You mean this one?
Yes, that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're coming in. We're sitting down. I think I'm the first one to sit down. Immediately, I see like a white piece of thing on the table in front of us with like this green string wrapped around it. And I'm just like frozen. I'm sitting down. I'm like, I don't know what came to my body. I couldn't move. I was frozen, Steven. I was like, oh my God. I was like, Jermin, get up and go grab that. But I just couldn't move. I was like, okay, I don't think you're allowed to just go up and grab that. Like, you need permission from like production or something. So I'm like, okay, I'm just stay seated.
The survivor adage, it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
I know. I didn't know why my body was just frozen. I was like, oh crap. Okay, whatever. I was like, if somebody gets up and like moves, you need to go get it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stay seated. I'm just gonna keep my eye out. I'm looking around. I'm like, does anyone else see this? Like, because there's like, I think at the time I'm thinking it's an idol on the desk. So they ask a question, and Melanie like pauses, and I she's right next to me on my left. She gets up and starts walking. I'm still frozen at this point. I'm like, Jermin, get up. Jermin, get up. Go, go, go. She takes a couple steps. I get up. I don't know what took over my body. I don't know what happened here. Do you see this?
You throw yourself.
I get up and I run and I snatch because like it's me or her. And I'm like, I'm not going to let this girl get this idol over me. I run, I snatch it, I grab it. I fall down and we fall in each other. And I was like, I got it. I was like, at the time I thought it was an idol, but it ended up just being an idol clue. But I'm so glad that it happened because if I didn't get up and do that, I think I go home that round.
So, okay, so you do think it actively swayed votes and helped you?
I mean, from what I know now, like they were going to, I think, do a 5-3 on me, make me, and then I think because I did that, it sparked them to tie the vote, which allowed Charlie to flip the vote. So I'm glad I got up and I'm glad I died for that. So trust your gut. Before I came to Reelfoot, ironically, I was on a phone call with him on one of the seasons, and we were just talking, and he was like, he pretty much figured out that I was playing because I was like, I'm in Tennessee, and he's like, why are you in Tennessee? And whatever. But basically, we were talking out, and he was like, what are you gonna do for this? What's your game plan? I was like, and he's like, trust your gut. Whatever you do, trust your gut. So I think in that moment, my gut was telling me, get up, go for it, fight, and that's what led me to snatch the clue. And if I didn't do that, I just feel like I go home because I don't know why they tied the vote on me. Like even if I had an idol or whatever it was, they should have just voted me out, right?
Yeah.
Well, it made them scared, and I'm glad it happened because it kept me. Yeah.
So Millie goes out in a 5-3 vote. To this day, we still don't know how people exactly voted. We're going to wait to the episodes to figure out who exactly went where. The great mysteries of the season. Talk about what happens after this vote, the fallout.
Okay, so during this vote, so I grabbed the clue. I walk off. I kind of open it, and I read it, and it tells me like it's on a log, and it shows a picture. So I put it in my pocket, and I'm like telling everyone like, I'm gonna share this with you guys. If you guys keep me in this game, I will share it with you.
Mm-hmm.
And very vocal at Tribal. I'm like, I'm Team Green. I just want to be loved. I want to be accepted. Can you guys just accept me as a Green member? Like, that's all I want. Like, I play this game with the people that I start with. So if you show me loyalty and you side with me, I will ride or die for you. And I say that the whole Tribal, I say it like 2, 3, 4 times. I'm like, I want to be Green strong. So I stand up. Right before the votes are read, I stand up and I'm like, okay, I might go home. In case I go home, I don't want to just keep this. I want to give it to someone that was loyal to me. And I know Hannah, she's my ride or die. She's my queen. I love her. I want to give this clue to her. So I stand up and I'm like, I'm giving this clue to you, Hannah. Don't share it with anyone because these bitches are about to vote me out. But if I'm not voted out, I'm going to share it with the entire tribe. Because, if you guys keep me, that means you have my back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the votes come out and it's like 5-3. I'm like, what? It's supposed to be a 7-1 vote. Like, Melanie's supposed to be gone. So then I'm pissed. I get back to the tribe, and then we're sitting in the living room. And I'm like, okay, let's have a meeting. Like, I'm supposed to read the note to everyone. And I'm like, no, I'm not reading this to any of y'all bitches. Y'all try to vote me out and y'all want me to trust you. I'm not reading this to y'all. I'm not sharing with y'all. Y'all are fake as F. Like, screw you. You try to vote me out. I'm like, who voted me? Step up right now. And like, I think Tony steps up and says he votes me, but I don't know who the other person is. I kind of suspect that it's Melissa, but I don't know if it's Ethan or not. So I'm like, okay, I don't trust Tony. Like, it is what it is. And I'm like, I'm not sharing the clue with y'all because why should I help you when y'all try to vote me out? So the only people that I shared it with was Hannah and I think Trinica, because those are the people that I trusted the most. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go look for this clue. Please give me the space to look for the clue. And if I find it, I'm gonna use it for Team Green. What do? I'm looking for the idol. Everyone's like, Ethan's like literally hawk eyeing me. Like he's like, I'm looking here and he's like right on top of me, and Tony's over there, and I'm like, are y'all okay? Y'all just try to vote me out. I'm trying to get the idol. Like, are y'all okay? Can I please find the idol? So I just felt like this is like strike number 2 for me. I'm like, okay, y'all are not fucking with me. Like, this is, I'm trying to be Team Green and y'all are doing everything against me. And I was like, okay, is this how we're gonna play? Okay. So none of us find the idol because we're all on top of each other hunting because we're about to go into a tribe swap or a potential tribe swap. And I'm like, okay, if you guys allow me to find this idol, I can use it for us. Like, if we're in a minority, I'll give it to whoever needs it. But I guess, I don't know, they don't trust me. I don't know what I'm giving off. Everything I'm saying is trust me, and everything I'm doing is trust me, but y'all are just not believing me. I don't know. I just, maybe because I'm not in the alliance. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, at this point, I'm like, I don't like green. Like, I want to be Team Green, but everything they're doing is against me. It's like, I don't know why.
What would have happened if the tribe went back to tribal council with each other?
For me, I think I would have targeted Ethan or Tony.
Mm-hmm.
I would have tried to pull me, Hannah, Charlie, Trinica. So 4 against 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have tried to done, but I don't know what would have happened.
Well, we'll never know because you make it to the tribe swap, and this is a sorely needed tribe swap for you. You are now on Nankana 2.0. And so from your original tribe, you have Tony, you have Hannah, and you have Charlie. Are these the ideal people that you want to be swapped with from your original tribe?
Let's swap Tony with Trinica, and that's my ideal.
Okay.
But I have Hannah and Charlie. Charlie just saved me. He literally gave me life in this game.
Did he tell you that his vote was on purpose?
He didn't tell me it was on purpose. He was crying and like very emotional. So at the time, I just thought he screwed up. That's why, I mean, I think at that point we weren't that close yet, because I was like, oh, this kid screwed up and saved me. I didn't even share my clue with him because I was like, okay, I don't know if I could fully trust him yet. So I was just happy because, okay, he did save me. Hannah, my ride or die. Tony, I don't mess with him, but I just feel like he's more of a target than I was. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy with this tribe swap, yes.
And then from original Pink, you get Blake, Carrie, Sandra, and Shauna. Talk to me about those 4.
Very excited about this tribe swap because first and foremost, I get Kiri, my secret, mm-hmm. relationship that no one knows about. We played Surviving Canada together, and this Kiri in Reelfoot is not the Kiri that played Surviving Canada. That was her first game, and I'm telling you, completely different person.
How so?
The Kiri that played this game, complete opposite of that. That's all I'll say, because I don't want to ruin Surviving Canada, but just know that was her first game. Very timid, very like reluctant. Mm-hmm. So when I meet her in this game, I could tell like, oh my gosh, she has changed. She's ready to fight. Like, she's a game player. I was like, super happy to see my girl. Love you, Kiri. I meet Sandra. Kind of iffy because I did vote her out in Outlast. But she says it's a new game. Let's just, start clean. Okay, let's see. Shauna, very, very cool girl. Got along with her very easily. We were talking about music and her, her being a mother and stuff. So we were bonding very, very well. And then Blake, very chaotic mess. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, Blake, they just blindsided you and your man, James. So my thought process is like, okay, Blake is going to come to us. He's going to come to our side. It's going to be great. And he's just like very messy, very chaotic. He's still trying to work with people who just blindsided him. And I'm like, okay, this is not someone that I really want to work with long term.
So you don't go to tribal council with this group. But had you gone to tribal council, what do you think would have happened?
So based on everything that was going on, I think it was clear that Blake and Tony were the bottom of the tribes. Mm-hmm. They were the main targets. I think this first target would have been Blake. If Tony had stayed on the tribe, it would have been Blake because very chaotic. Nobody really trusted him. And he was just very messy with his gameplay. Mm-hmm. And although I wanted to work with him because I thought, okay, maybe because I had at that time, I think I had the steel.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second because you get to go to the outpost.
So I thought, okay, he would come to our side and work with us because these people just blindsided you, but it wasn't giving that. So I think he would have been the first target. And then personally, I would have been like, okay, you guys gave us Blake, we'll give you Tony. you know?
And then figure out things from there.
Yeah, because I didn't trust Tony. Tony, me and him just never got on the same page. And it's just like, I felt like like hate is a strong word, but I just feel like he wasn't messing with me ever since the Melanie vote because it's like
Mm.
Melanie was his girl. And for me
Mm.
to stay over Melanie, I feel like he had this resentment against me. And I just feel like we never got on the same page. And I think if we had went to two tribals, I would have been okay with letting him go.
So let's talk a little bit about outpost stuff because we haven't spoken much about it.
Mhm.
Hannah went to the outpost earlier on day 3, and she brings
Yes.
back this mutiny advantage, which she tells your entire tribe. What was your thought about that?
It showed me a lot about Hannah's game. Um, she's a very honest player. She doesn't hide anything. She's not gonna like scheme. She's not gonna like plot and do anything bad. So I was like, okay. I think people really trust Hannah because she doesn't hide anything, and she's like very upfront. I was like, okay, she has a mutiny. She's willing to use it for everyone. Like that's cool, but Hannah, you're not gonna use it for everyone, right? You're gonna use it for me and you, right? So it showed me a lot about her game, and it made me trust her even more. And I trusted her a lot very very fast because obviously I thought I was going home, and I gave her the note for the clue. So at this point in the game, she's everything to me. She's my ride or die. I'm gonna do everything, and I think that's one of my mistakes in this game. Like I played this game, or at least this season, I played a lot for my allies, and I didn't play enough for myself. So I think as we go on, you'll see how much I played for others over myself.
Well, you win that immunity challenge. You and Shauna go to the outpost. You bring
Yes.
Carl and Maddie P with you. Talk to me about that visit.
Oh my God, Carl is such a character. Oh my gosh, we get there and Carl is like, "You're protecting my girl, right? That's my girl. You better have her back." And he's like, very very loud personality. I was like, "Oh my God." Basically, we had more tokens because we pulled our tokens. So me and Shauna were able to buy like 2 things, and they were only able to buy one. I think they bought like food, and we got food, and we got this like scroll. I wanted to get the scroll so bad because like if there's an advantage, I want to get it. So we had enough tokens, and we bought the advantage, and we were smart. We opened it up at the outpost and we read it together. And basically, it was a burner vote. So like as the votes are being read, you're allowed to burn one of your votes. And I'm asking production, like, so who gets this? Because like there's 2 of us and this is one advantage. And like, well, you guys have to decide that. And I was like, oh crap, here we go. I'm like, I'm getting this advantage. Like, I need this. Like, I'm not gonna let her get this over me. So we're like talking back and forth, and she's like, she's kind of like giving me a hard time about it. And I'm like, why don't you want me to have the advantage? Like, I'm gonna use it for us. Like, we're working together now. We'll take out Blake, we'll take out Tony. Like, this could be something that unifies us. And eventually, I'm like pushing hard, hard, hard. And eventually, she like says, "Okay, I'll give you the advantage." I think she was like, "We should give it to Sandra because we both like Sandra." I'm like, "No, because I don't trust Sandra." I like Sandra, but I do not trust her. I feel like she's still holding that grudge from Outlast. Like, no, I want this advantage in my possession, and I don't know how, but she like gives it to me. I'm like, okay, and yeah.
I mean, this is a fateful moment because Shauna will go home likely as a result of this
The
event.
irony, right? Like she lets me have this advantage. I'm like, don't worry, Shauna. This is our advantage. I'm gonna use this advantage for us. Okay, it's for both of us. Don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. So I had the advantage, and at this point we go back, and she's like, okay, you need to read it in front of everyone. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. We get back to camp. I read it in front of everyone, tell them what it is, so everyone knows that I have it. And everyone's like, so who gets the advantage? Because he just read it out loud, and production's like, it's like, I think production says like, it's either up to you guys or he read it or something. I don't know. But basically, I was like, it's mine. Like, I read it. I'm not giving it to you guys. It's going to be in my position. I'm holding on to it. Like, I'm not giving it to anyone. So everyone knows I have this advantage. I don't care. I don't care if it puts a target on my back. I wasn't really thinking like that. I was just like, I have an advantage, and there's like 3 of us and like 5 of you guys, like, or like 4.
It's 4 and 4.
4 and 4. But I'm thinking like, if anything happens in a tie, I can use this, because at that time I wanted green to stay. So if it ties, I'm gonna use it to keep green safe.
I want to talk a little bit more about Kiri, because one thing that came up in my interview with her, she was like, she was coming to you and say, Jermin, ride or die, let's run this to end, and you were not reciprocating. And Kiri kind of figures out like, I think Hannah's his one, but it sounds like Kira's really trying to say, hey, we had a good thing going then, let's do it again. You're just like, yeah, but no.
Love Kiri, queen. Okay, so she came to me. She wanted to do this little ride or die thing, and I was like, yes, I want to work with you. But I was very upfront with her. I was like, Hannah is my girl. That's who I started this game with. That's my number one. I didn't want to lie to her. So she knows this. She knows that Hannah is my number one. Kiri, at this point, we had swapped. At this point in the game, Kiri was already telling us, everybody, she was like, I don't want to be with Carl anymore. You know, I don't want to have, you know, him bringing me down. She doesn't want to have that type of like stress of like being like a duo and being targeted. She didn't want people to feel like he was controlling her and stuff. So this is before we even merged. Like, she was already talking about Carl and how she wanted to distance herself. So she was telling me already, like, she felt like she was at the bottom, especially with this new merge, because it was clear, like, Shauna, Sandra, they would always go off to talk together. And then eventually when Jordan came over, the 3 of them would go talk together. And you would always see Kiri, like, not with them. I'm like, it's clear that Kiri's on the bottom. Like, she doesn't feel safe with them. You know, she doesn't feel on the same level as them. She feels like they're just using her as a number. And I think that helps sparks her to, like, come to our side.
So you win that first immunity challenge.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive to the next challenge, and a lot happens. So we'll go by one. You see that Jeff has been voted off from the other tribe. What was your reaction to that?
Shook, pissed, mad. Like, I want to play with Jeff. Like, that's baby daddy. Like, that's the one person that I wanted to play with. Like, I'm so excited, and you guys took Jeff away from me. I was really upset. I know Hannah was pissed. And during that little scramble thing, I noticed, I had noticed that Shauna and Maddie P were doing a little bit of whispers on the mat. And I was like, I'm very observant. I'm always watching. I'm seeing who's talking to who, what's going on. And I noticed they were talking to each other. I'm like, okay, so Shauna is really close to Maddie P. Because why would y'all need to be whispering cross-tribal? You know what I mean? I'm mad that Jeff's gone, but I'm like, okay, we're going to have to move forward. I told Hannah, do not give that advantage to anyone. If you're going to give it to somebody, give it to Trinica, and that's it. What does Hannah do? She gives the advantage to Melissa. And what does Melissa do? She gives it to Tony, who leaves us. And then Jordan comes over. But when Tony leaves us, I think this is like strike number 3 for me. I'm like, oh, so y'all don't care about me, Hannah, and Charlie. So y'all about to leave us for dead on the pink tribe when you guys clearly are fine because you just survived the vote. Why do you need an extra person? Why do you need Tony on your side if you just survived? It wasn't making sense to me. So in my mind at that time, I was like, okay, they're dead to me. I'm literally done with green. Like, you guys are leaving me, Charlie, and Hannah to die. Like, you're done with us.
So your new tribe is no longer even the numbers. You're kind of in a potential minority, right? From original Kina, it's you, Charlie, Hannah, and now you have Jordan, Blake, Shauna, Kiri, and Sandra. How are you? So
I don't feel good.
You don't feel good.
Do not feel good. It's now 5 of them, 3 of us. I know I knew Kiri, but from the Kiri that I knew, she's not gonna like risk her game if it doesn't make sense. Like there's 5 of them and 3 of us. She's not gonna tie the vote, you know. So I'm like, okay, we're screwed. We're pretty much left for dead. But luckily Blake was very chaotic, very messy, and he created such a huge target that we all like pretty much just ganged up and was like, okay, Blake needs to go, right? Like nobody wants someone peeing in their rice and throwing their socks in the fire and all this stuff. So that was an easy vote.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. So it ends up being a 7-0 vote on Blake. Was that, given our talk earlier about the shot in the dark, well, what happened there?
Bad game move. Bad. Because when I played this game, I was like, always have a backup plan. Because someone can play the shot in the dark. You don't want it to come back on you, right? So I was thinking about it. I was like, I need to throw my vote. But you don't want to throw your vote. Let's say Blake goes home. I threw my vote on like Shauna. They're going to figure out one of us threw our vote. Now I become a target. So it's that balance between, do you want to take a risk or do you want to like create a target on yourself? I didn't want to target, so I should have threw my vote. Like I stand by, I should have threw a vote, but I'm glad he didn't play his. Well, he did.
He did. He just missed.
He did play it, but I'm glad it didn't hit. Because I mean, I do think if it did hit, I think Charlie goes home. I'm hoping in that round, because I think at least me, Hannah, and Kiri will vote together. So I don't think I go, but yeah, I don't want Charlie to go. Like that's my guy right now.
Oh, anything else about the Blake round you want to talk about?
No, he was just very chaotic, and I'm glad that we all were like, okay, unify. Like, okay, Blake needs to go because they had a 5-3 lead. How did they blow this?
I mean, is there a role where you take Blake and say, you either jump with us, it'll be a 4-4. I'll use my advantage. You'll be safe. You need to flip.
Yes. That's what I wanted to do. However, Blake was going around saying we need to split the vote between Jermin and Hannah and all this chaotic mess. I was like, okay, even if I pull him on my side, this is not someone I want to work with long term. Like it's giving messy, it's giving chaotica, it's giving just like no, like just not someone I want to work with. So I think we all just realized like Blake is not a good ally. Sorry, Blake. We love you. Trade of the season, very cute, but not someone that we want to be on our team.
So Blake is out. How was the hot pursuit challenge for you?
Oh my god. Okay, so we had the previous challenge was the crate challenge where you had to put your legs up.
Yep.
We did that for like an hour and a half, like with our legs up. Like our legs are hurting. They're tired. Production. Why would you have a running challenge carrying something after we had our legs up for like an hour and a half? Are you okay? Are you sick? Like, are you not thinking that we're going to be like hurting and tired? Like, this was really bad on production. Like, they had pissed me. I was so upset. I was like, why would you guys do this to us? But when we started that challenge, I'm so proud of us because when we started that challenge, we were gaining on them. Like, we were catching up to them. But I think our legs just gave out and we just couldn't last. And then they caught up to us and I was like, crap, like at that time, that night, I thought there was no way out for me, Charlie, and Hannah. I was like, okay, we're screwed.
So you've lost this challenge. You're end up going to be the target this round. But this is, if the Melanie vote was one big pivotal moment, this is the next pivotal moment of the season where Kiri will flip. So talk me through how this ends up happening and what your role in that was.
Yes, I want to talk about this because I feel like the theory is like it's Kiri's move, it's Kiri who flips and all this stuff. But I feel like personally, I feel like I drove this vote because okay, Kiri did feel at the bottom, but Kiri wanted to vote out Jordan. I feel like she wanted to flip, but she felt like I feel like she felt like to do like a safer move, which was Jordan. I was the one who was like, okay, if you're gonna flip Kiri, like we need to make a big move. And I think Kiri was reluctant because Hannah wanted to vote for Jordan, but Hannah was not willing to vote for Shauna. So Kiri felt a little bit reluctant on that. And I was like, Kiri, we don't need Hannah. Because I have a burner vote. Like, we'll tell Hannah we're voting Jordan, but me, you, and Charlie, we can vote Shauna. I'll burn the vote, and it'll be 3-3, and then it'll be 3-2. So after I explained that to her, I think it kind of motivated her to go the Shauna route because I think at first she wanted to do Jordan. So we tell Hannah we have a 4-person meeting. Hannah, yep, we're voting Jordan. That's how it's gonna be. Yep, you should vote Jordan. Hannah leaves. Me, Charlie, and Kiri have our secret meeting. We're like, okay, let's do the real plan because Hannah doesn't want to vote Shauna. Hannah has said this from the beginning. She's like, Jermin, if you're gonna make a move, against Melissa, if you're gonna make a move against like Shauna or something, do not tell me. Don't involve me because I don't want to know about it or I don't want to vote that way. I was like, cute. Okay, that's fine. So I was like, okay, Hannah, we're voting Jordan. So then the real plan was we're voting Shauna. I'm gonna burn the vote and it'll be a 3-2. So I think it was a good plan because there was a blind side. And I don't think Hannah knew. I mean, Hannah probably suspected like, okay, something's up because when she came to me and I was like, would you vote Shauna? And she's like, or I was like, if you could vote Shauna or Sandra, she's like, I don't feel comfortable. I'm like, okay. So I think she knew something was up, but I did not. Because specifically at that point in the game, I realized people thought me and Hannah's game were like this. And I was like, I need to do something to separate myself from Hannah. I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to leave her out the vote. And if both of us make it to the end, I can say, this is something that I did without her. So I purposely left her out of the vote. Sorry, Hannah, I love you, Queen, slay. But we did that without her, and that was one of the biggest blindsides of the season.
Did you know you were the target from the other side?
No, actually, to be honest, I thought Charlie was the target, and regardless, I told Charlie this. If the votes came onto me or him, I was going to use that burn a vote. So if the votes were on Charlie, I would have burned those votes. If it was on me, burn the vote. So at the time, I did think it was Charlie, but then my name came up. But I wasn't worried because we had thought about the plan and we knew what was going to happen. So going into it, I thought it was Charlie. So I saw my name. I was like, oh, here we go again. We're coming after Jermin. Like, okay, story of the season.
So you are successful. It is a weird, but it's a 3-2-1, which is always hard and impressive to pull off.
Yes.
With Shauna being blindsided going home, fully kind of flipping the power structure. You're in the majority with Kiri, Hannah, and Charlie, leaving Sandra and Jordan minority, which is important because you lose the next challenge.
And I don't like losing challenges. I put my all in everything. I don't throw challenges. I don't believe in throwing challenges. We did our best that we could, but we just couldn't get that puzzle. Sandra came to me and Hannah. She comes to us for an Outlast little thingy. She's like, let's work together, the three of us, whatever. I'm like, okay, cute. She tries to target me this round, flops. I was like, oh, okay, so you want to come after me? It's time for you to go. So this round, my target is Sandra. I'm like, she needs to go. Can't trust her. She lied to our faces. She's coming after me. If she comes after me, she'll come after you, Hannah. So the target this round fully was Sandra. And if she did not hit that shot in the dark, Sandra, your ass would have been gone home. But I'm actually thinking about it now. Like, I'm happy that it hit because Jordan, I don't think Jordan has my back or like our backs as much as Sandra did with this that eventually happens. Jordan's a game player. She's gonna do what's the best for her. So I'm glad that it worked out the way it did.
So is there much strategy beyond like, hey, it's 2-2 and who cares what they're voting for?
Definitely a 2-2-2 plan. Hannah doesn't want to vote Sandra, I believe. So
yeah,
she votes Jordan. I'm voting Sandra because I want to write that name down because she tried to get me out.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's gonna tie, revote Sandra out. That was the plan, but she got saved by the shot in the dark.
Did you think she was gonna play, or are you just hoping that it just missed?
Personally, I thought both of them were gonna play it because it's 4 against 2. You know, you or personally, I would have just voted. If I was Jordan or Sandra, I would just voted the other person.
which would have worked, right?
Right.
In this situation.
But
minus Sandra being 6 out with a shot in the dark.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. But I figured either they're gonna play it or something. So yeah, it just happens that way. I don't know.
So Sandra is immune. Jordan goes home. You are now left in a small trap at 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you will win the next challenge, which is you swim out, you collect puzzle pieces, and you solve a fish puzzle.
One of my favorite moments of the season, Steven, like, have you ever came into a challenge and like they were explaining the challenge? They were like, okay, you're gonna swim out, you have to untie this, bring it back, solve a puzzle. You have to swim like far. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm looking at their team. I'm looking at my team. I'm like, this is over. Can we just go to travel right now? Because there's just no way we're winning. There's no way we're going to win this challenge. This is not right. Like, what? And I was already pissed because like we're down to like 11 at this point, I think.
Yeah, and the merge isn't here yet.
What's going on? Can we just merge? Stop. Production, are y'all okay? Are y'all sick? Like, y'all are doing way too much. So I was like, okay, we're going to lose this. There's just no way we're winning this. So Steven, when we come to the end and we actually solve this and we win, that feeling of just winning when you think like there was no chance, I think this is probably top 2 of the season. Like, there's this feeling of just like euphoria, like joy. I was like, oh my God, we did it. We won. Like, even though like, you know, Sandra came against me, like I would be happy to vote her out. I don't like losing challenges. So for us to win this, it felt so magical. It felt like David versus Goliath, and we were the Davids and we won. I was like, oh my gosh. And then they had to vote one of them out, bitch. Bye.
Well, so had you lost, was Sandra always going home?
1000%. And she didn't have her shot in the dark, so it was over.
So you have some downtime before the merge ends up happening, especially after winning this challenge. I'm curious because it seems like you and Sandra bury the hatchet at this point.
Yes, we do. We talk about it, and like, you came for me, I came for you, type of thing. It's like, let's move forward. I don't think at this point, I don't think we really are. You know, we're trying to bury it, but we're still wary of each other. We were just so happy to win that challenge. At least for me, I'm so happy that we won that I do want to move forward. I mean, I never wanted to have bad beef with Sandra. She's the one who started it. So I was happy to squash it and move forward. And I think that downtime of waiting for the battle bag and everything, that really bonded the 5 of us. Me, Kiri, Sandra, Charlie, Hannah, the 5 of us are really bonded really hard during that time.
I mean, looking into the merge, were you already planning like, you know, this is the group of 5 I want to ride with the merge, or you're kind of like, I need to figure out what's going on the other side and where I want to go?
Absolutely not. Not working with Green. Green hates me. Green has targeted me from day one. Tony doesn't talk to me. Melissa, like, I want to be accepted by Melissa so bad, but I just feel like she didn't accept me.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan and Trinica, I mean, we had split off, so I didn't have time to bond with them as much. So it's just like I just felt like Green wasn't really messing with me, and I was just like, and then coming onto the first merge vote when Green was throwing out my name, I was like, okay, I'm literally done with Green. Like I've done everything to be loved and accepted. I want to be Green strong. It's like they don't want me. So why should I keep fighting to be accepted by Green?
So, coming the merge, you have the redemption, where two players are coming back in game, one male, one female competitor. Who would have been the ideal people to re-enter the game for you?
I think for male, I wanted Jeff to come back. I know Jeff was extremely loyal to Hannah, and I knew Jeff would be, if he's loyal to Hannah, he'd be loyal to me, and I could use him as a shield. I need a shield. I'm the one. I'm being the shield right now. Like everyone's voting me. Like I need somebody else to get votes, right? For the female, I actually wanted Debbie to come back because I was really excited to work with her and for us to like squash the beef from Big Brother Chicago and like actually work together. So those, because I didn't want Shauna to come back because I had just blindsided her. Don't know Maddie P and Blake chaotic. Melanie, no.
Not working with you.
No, she's not working with me. So
Joe?
I think my ideal two would have been Jeff and Debbie.
Well, you get Maddie and Shauna, but weirdly it works. How come?
Okay, so for Shauna, I feel like me and Shauna got along really well. Like I feel like if me and Shauna started on the tribe together, we would have been like ride or dies. Like we just understood each other and we were on the same wavelength. But she came for me, I came for her during that vote. So I think it was kind of like an understanding, like it's okay, like let's squash this beef, let's move forward and do what's best for both of our games. Maddie P comes in. This is my first time meeting Maddie P. What can I say? Very charming, like the accent, like very friendly. Like who doesn't love Maddie P? Like he's just like easy to get along with, and like I think that was really good for my game. Yeah.
So you have your merge. Tell me about the merge feast.
So the merge feast is happening. I watch Survivor. I know in the merge feast there's gonna be something. There's gonna be a clue or something. The fries come out. I'm like, it has to be in the, because like, okay, the mushroom is not gonna be in the mushrooms. You know, I'm thinking of what would be where. And because I'm thinking back to Survivor, what was it? The Survivor where Amanda, is it Heroes vs. Villains, where Amanda and Colby and somebody watching a movie and it's in popcorn, right? So that's what I'm thinking, and I'm like, it's gonna be in something. I see the fries, and I'm like, something has to be in there, but I don't want to be too obvious. At this point, like I've already died for advantages and stuff. Like I don't want to bring too much attention to myself.
I mean, it would be fitting if you just like took the fries, dump it out instead of.
I was so tempted, Steven. I was like, I'm already a target. I don't even care. I'm about to dump the fries and get whatever is in there because I knew something was in there, but didn't get anything. I'm just trying to like lay low at this point. I'm just trying to like get the target off me, let everyone else talk. You know, just chill, like be quiet, observe. Going into the merge, my strategy is to find an alliance, get the target off me. I want to fix things with Melissa at this point. But then I find out, I think Tony's throwing out my name. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is your obsession with me? Like, what is it that I did for you guys to be obsessed with me and getting me out? Like, it doesn't make sense. And yeah, I think at this point, I'm just like, I'm done with Green. Like, I cannot work with them. It doesn't make sense for me to work with Green because okay, I work with green. I'm going to be at the bottom, you know. So my goal is to target green, get all the men out, then get Melissa and Trinidad out.
So is Carl part of that green?
Oh, 100%, because I heard that Carl was the one who flipped, took out Jeff. So I knew he's like definitely green. And yeah, I don't trust Carl.
And so you pretty firmly land on, it's like, all right, this swap group plus these two returnees, that needs to be the alliance I'm in.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I was just hoping that things worked out, like, because I didn't know how Shauna was going to feel. I didn't know if she was going to be resentful. Maddie P, I don't know him. So I had to rely on my other alliance members to really make that work. I did have a talk with Shauna. I feel like we squashed it really well, and we realized like it's better for us to work together than to be against each other. So that was great. And then Maddie P, I knew Shauna and Maddie P had something. Like I said, I saw them talking on the map. So I knew
you get one, you get both.
Correct. I knew like, okay, this is like a pair. So I felt really good with both of them. And Maddie P got voted out by that green tribe. So I was like, is Maddie P really going to go back to working with the people who just voted him out? No, I don't think so.
But Shauna will go back to the people who just voted her out.
Which one?
But Shauna will come back and work with us, even though we voted her out. Maybe because maybe it helps in not being as recent.
True. Yeah.
That night, you compete in your first individual immunity challenge, where you get to stand in one place for as long as possible in the dark alone. How long did you last?
Okay, so this is the merge. This starts like the whole merge. I come in like second or third in every challenge.
Sorry, I want to break real fast.
Yeah.
You have an individual. You have a hidden immunity idol. Was that found on your swap tribe or found in the merge?
I found that during the Blake round.
All right, talk to me about that, because it's like the one that I don't know the story of.
We need to know the story.
I want to know the story.
Okay, so this is the Blake round. We're literally walking to tribal, and production is like, you guys need to bring your flag. Somebody grab the flag. Nobody's grabbing it, so I go grab the flag, the pole with the flag on it, and I'm carrying it. We're carrying it. We're walking, and I end up stopping because I think half the tribe is still trying to catch up. There's a huge log where the mud is, and like there was like a split in the group, so we're still waiting. I'm just standing there with the flag in my hand, waiting on people to come. Oh my god, here we go! Like we're taking forever. I don't know. Out of the corner of my eye, I look up and like I see something like dangling from the flag. I'm like, oh my god, that's an idol. But people are like in front of me. There's production. People are coming from the log area. I'm like, oh my god, I need to get this down secretly because I don't want anyone to see. And basically, like I snatch it down and like stuff it in my crotch and like hide it, and nobody sees me. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna tell anyone. I'm not even gonna tell Hannah because I just came off watching, what was it, Survivor 46, right?
Yeah.
46, I'm like, I always say, do not tell anyone that you have an idol. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell anyone, not even my number one. So I don't even tell Hannah. And I'm like, I'm going to keep this a secret until I need to just play it or reveal it. So yeah, I snatched it. Yeah.
So that Shauna vote, where it could be.
Jermin was never going home, Steven.
What?
Jermin was never going home. So even on that Shauna vote, like even if I didn't have the burner vote or anything, I had the idol.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, were you tempted to play the idol instead of the burner vote, or just because like you knew, like, hey, if Kiri's with me, I know exactly how this is going down, so it doesn't matter.
So I was tempted to play it, but I, like you said, I was like, Kiri's at the bottom of that group. She said she's gonna flip over. I trust her. I believe her. So I was like, I'd rather use the burner vote than use my idol.
Okay. So
I was tempted though, Steven. I was tempted to so during that vote, I realized it was going to be a 3-3-1 tie, like a 3-3-1, right? Yes. And it would have been between me and Shauna. I was tempted to force Hannah's hand and be like, not use my advantage, because Hannah would have to choose between me and Shauna, and I knew
Yep.
she chose me, but I didn't want to like do that to her. That would have been villainous. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play it.
Not gonna be that villainous.
Correct.
So back to merge, right? We have that challenge. You have to stand as long as possible. How you sounds like you go far. Like you're close then, but you're not quite.
That challenge starts and everyone immediately like there's all the guys I think are to my right. I think there's Shauna, Melissa, or Hannah on my left. Everyone's like the challenge starts and everyone's leaving. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stand here until we get the first, because they said the temptations. I'm like, at the first temptations, it could be some Oreo cookies, it could be, an advantage. I don't know. I don't care what it is. I'm just gonna step off the first temptation because I'm hungry. I don't care to win this, but
Even after the merge feast, you're still hungry?
Still hungry.
Okay.
Still hungry. Well, I think the main motivation was I want an advantage.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't care what it is. Like, I don't want to stand out here for 5 hours. Like, I don't want to stay here all night. So I'm like, if it's just like food, like fine, I'll eat again. So I'm waiting, and time is just going by. I'm like, I think it was Nate who he comes over and tells us like a little bit of update. I'm like, are y'all gonna give us temptations? Cause like we've been out here. And he's like, it's coming. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm out there waiting. I'm like, I'm getting bit by mosquitoes and stuff. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like, I need to get back to camp. So I'm waiting, and nothing comes. So I'm like, okay, I'm just giving up. So I give up, go back to camp, and I come third because when I leave, it was just Shauna and Ethan left.
How long did you just stay out there for?
It was like, I think 2 hours around there.
And
But I was standing there. For me, it felt like it was like 30 minutes, but it was like 2 hours when they told me. I was like, why was it so long before you guys presented a temptation? Like, I'm thinking 30 minutes or an hour. I think it was almost 2 hours. And they were like, oh, if you waited 15 more minutes, you would have got a temptation. I'm like, okay, funny. But I didn't get to get a temptation. I wish I did. But yep, I come through.
Let's do what if. Let's say you do go to the outpost instead of Shauna. You get that safety without power. When would you have used it?
Ooh. So the safety without power, you have to use. He says, okay, this is my question. Tony plays his idol, right? Can I use my safety without power?
No, it has to be played before the votes are cast.
Okay, before the votes are cast. When would I play it?
Yeah.
When is it expired?
I'm assuming 7.
I don't think I use it at all then.
Yeah. I mean, if you let's say if it was good till 6, would you have just like pieced out of that tribal council?
I would have given it to Hannah. At 6?
Okay, yeah. So you would have given the Hannah, Kiri plays her idol on you, Maddie goes home?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. If Shauna, if you're listening to this eventually and you have the paperwork, if you could let us know what round it expires, that'd be great.
Yeah. I don't know why she knew her name was out there. So I don't know why she didn't leave.
She was in the majority. Right? It's not for being the minority that she went home. It was just so okay, so talking about the scramble, how do you land on Tony, and who'd you know was voting with you, and who were you not sure was voting with you?
So that round, it gets back to me from Hannah that Tony's throwing out my name. And I'm like, oh my God, why is Green still targeting me? But she quickly lets me know that her and Melissa shut it down. They tell Tony to stop saying Jermin's name. And I was like, oh my God, finally, Melissa's having my back. Melissa's doing something to like protect me. So I felt good about Melissa and Hannah. But I still didn't feel good about Green. I think this is when Maddie and Shauna come together with us from the swap pink, and we said we're gonna target Tony because he's really good at challenges. Personally, I like to throw out a name as a decoy, but really vote someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
We stuck to Tony, and I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't care because Tony was throwing my name out, so I was like, okay,
Yeah.
he can go. But I mean, I didn't know he had it. We didn't know he had an idol. So good on him for playing that and saving himself. The second he played that, my heart started like beating because I'm like, oh my god, are they lying? Because they're saying they're gonna vote Shauna, right? But are they really voting Shauna? My name is already out there. I'm scared. I'm like, either okay. So this is coming off watching for Survivor 46. We're what 4 to 5 players in a row, 4 in a
Yeah,
row.
something like that, 4 or 5.
Doesn't play their idol because they feel safe. I'm not gonna be that person. So I was like, no matter what, I'm gonna play it because I don't even know if this is jury yet. So I play my idol because I'm scared. And Tony plays his idol. Shauna goes home, and it's unfortunate. Like I really was looking forward to working with Shauna, but I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Well, so I keep thinking that Shauna going on home here has huge implications, like for what will be the Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
If let's say Sandra goes out, or Charlie goes out, or Kira goes out, do you think the 6 would have still stuck together like it did?
I think we would have stuck together for a couple votes. However, Shauna, very great game player. I think she would do I think she would have came after me earlier. I think she would have done some things with Maddie because her and Maddie were like this. So I know they would have plotted against her, Maddie, Sandra. Oh, there would have been some kind of plotting going on. Yeah.
You mentioned before how like your goal is like let's get those original greens out. Let's take out Ethan. Let's take out Carl. Let's take out Tony. And then when it's just Melissa and Trinica, I want to do something. And so like in terms of that kind of action plan, who do you know who you would want to flip on?
If I were to do something around that time, it would have been against Sandra and Maddie. Never fully trusted Sandra. She came for me in the game. And then Maddie, I had just met Maddie. I saw how like good he was in the game with his social game, and I was like, okay, that's someone I don't want to get to the end. So I would have been okay with like turning on those two, probably.
And would you have taken Trinica or Melissa to the final 3, or would they have been
absolutely not? No, because they would have eaten up all the votes. Like you could not have taken OG green, like original green to the end because they would have automatically won. Besides myself, no, they would have won. No.
So Tony goes home. You have that push me fully challenge. Ethan wins. This is the sides aren't set in stone yet, but they're getting to that point. Talk about the strategy for this round, and do you know that you're being targeted again?
This is who goes home this round?
So you will vote for Carl, and the other 5 will vote for you.
Okay. So before that, I do want to talk about. I think I take the idol from Curie before this, right?
We can't forget that. All right, yeah. That is a mistake on my part. So at the end of the Tribal Council where Shauna goes home, what happens?
What happens is I get up and I look over to my left, and Curie's trying to like pick at something, and I realize she's trying to get an idol. I don't remember what words were being said, whatever. It could have been like, "Can you help me?" I don't know, but I'm the one who snatched the idol. I'm the one who pulled it down.
You swore she said like, "Jermin, this is your idol. Please take it."
That's what I heard. Okay, I heard, "Here, Jermin, this is yours." So I snatched the idol, and like I don't want anyone to see me giving it to her or anything. So I like at first I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it with myself, and then I realized like, no, I got this. Like am I a villain for grabbing an idol? Like, it's my idol now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you had a lot of time to pick that up. You didn't even share the clue with me. So she was like, "Can I have my idol?" I was like, "We'll talk about it." You know, like, should I just give it to you because you couldn't reach? Absolutely not. So, I mean, I grabbed the idol. I mean, and I had just played my idol. So I'm like, oh my God, another idol. Like, I need this. Like, I'm the one getting all the votes. I'm the one taking the shots for this alliance. Like, I'm the one who needs this, not you.
So you do end up giving it back to her. How does that end up coming to be?
Yes. Okay. So, oh my gosh.
You have like, even though is it your villain error, or is like, being guilt tripped? You have a conscience.
Guilt trip have a conscience. She's crying. She's like, this is all I ever wanted. Like, I finally found an idol. It was mine, all the stuff. I have her crying. Then I have Carl in my ear, like, bro, that's not cool, man. Yeah, you're a man. Be a man. You need to give it back to Kiri and all this. I'm like, oh my God, Carl is down my neck. I was like, oh my God, like, I just feel like so much pressure on me. I feel like I thought about it. I'm like, if you keep this idol, potentially you're gonna have Kiri turn against you. Um, you're gonna lose your alliance. Long term, I just feel like it wasn't good for me to keep the idol long term because even if I played it that round, I just felt like Kiri probably turns against me. My target gets bigger. Um, I knew my name was out that round. I was like, okay, I could go home, but if I do go home, this is another example of me playing for other people over myself. I was like, okay, if I do go home, I'd rather these people have an idol to try to fight against the other side. If I go home, because I don't want to like go home with an idol in my pocket. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it back to her. It's hers. I don't want her to turn against me because I know this new Kiri. She is very vengeful. She will turn against you. So I was like, eventually, it's probably better for me to give it back to her. I know my name is out there. I knew I could go home, but at that point, I was like very emotionally drained in the game, and I was like,
Oh, it's only the second vote of a very long day.
I was like, if it's me, like I'm actually ready to go. Like I'm like exhausted physically, emotionally, mentally. I'm like, I wouldn't mind leaving. Like I made it to the merge. Like I made it to jury. Like I wouldn't mind getting in the house, getting some food, sleeping in a bed, showering. Is like, okay, if it's my time, it's my time. So I was fully prepared to go home at that round. And I was like, I'm gonna give it back to Kiri. And I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell her. I just wanted to be very, I'm a very like selfless player, I guess. Like I don't know. I just
So
like
is this when you're talking about, like, the tension of like playing for myself versus playing for others? Is this a moment of that, or?
definitely because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I might go home this round. So I'm thinking, okay, even if I play the idol, right, and I do stay, I'm with an alliance of people who are not gonna trust me anymore because I did something just for myself.
Mhm.
And Kiri's gonna be mad at me. She's not gonna trust me. She's probably gonna turn against me. So I was like, I'd rather do something to help them if I go home. Because I do think I mean, it's like a 50-50 chance. I'm like, it's either me or Carl. And I'm like, if I do go home, I want them to have it over, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean, I think that is the right decision, right? Because I think this gets you to fourth. I think if had you ticked off Kiri, I don't think the six would have been the six.
definitely don't. I think it would have been a crack. I think that would have helped Green really get in there. And Kiri probably turns. Maddie, Sandra definitely don't trust me anymore. Charlie
So,
probably, yeah.
so you give the idol back at tribal council. Why
Mhm.
there instead of like before tribal council?
So I was like confused. I didn't know how, like, because when I went to go vote, I asked I think it was Pete. I was like, hey, I want to give this to Kiri, like, but how do can I just hand it to her at any time, or like what? And he's like, well, you need to give it to her. I think he said like you need to give it to her before the votes are read or something like that. And I was like, okay, so I'll just give it to her when Amos says something. And then I was like, okay, I want to do it publicly because I want everyone to see what I'm doing, and I want to get a little bit, like, I want to benefit from this. Like, I'm giving up an idol. Like, I don't want to, like, I mean, I could secretly give it back, but I want people to see what I'm doing because I just feel like it would benefit me more. I don't know.
Mhm. So this round where it's between Carl and you, why vote Carl? Like, why target him over Tony or over Tony, for instance?
Kiri.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, Carl. Kiri was targeting Carl from the Swap Tribe. Okay. She wanted to separate from him for a while, and I think this vote was very much led by like Kiri and the girls, and I was not gonna stop it. Like, y'all want to target Carl? Go ahead.
And did you know your name was being targeted by the other side?
I did know, and I was tempted to play the idol, like I said, because I was like, do I be selfish, play it for me, and just like fuck it, like I'm gonna go to the end, or some way or somehow, or I'm gonna be selfless and give it back. So I chose the latter.
Do you have any strategy talk with those five this round?
I think I have a strategy talk with Trinica, me, Hannah, and Trinica. I think we talked at some point. We're like, we're gonna be open and communicating. We're not gonna vote for each other, but hopefully, eventually, we can work together. Type of deal. Everyone else was just not. No, they were kind of like, I was done with Green. Like Green hates me. Like, what do you want me to do?
Well, Carl goes out 6-5.
Yeah.
You are firm in the majority now. This next round, Melissa wins immunity. Tony will go home. It's a 4-2-2. 4 votes Tony, 2 votes Ethan, and 2 votes Jermin. So I feel like this is the final. This is the other really pivotal round of the game that really cements that you have two sides. There's be no crossover between the two. Why do you think that is?
This was if there was a moment to make a move or crossover or something to be done, I think it had to be this round. I think everyone made their choices and decided where they wanted their end game to go and who they wanted it to be with. I feel like moving forward, I feel like me and Maddie, when it comes to the Breakfast Club, I feel like me and Maddie were the ones really driving the strategy. Like, personally, I was always thinking of shot in the dark, idols, plan A, plan B. If, we need to split the votes. We need to put 4 here, 2 there. What if 2 people play a shot in the dark? So I was always thinking of these things, and I would run it by Maddie first, and he was a great listener. And this is where I really started to bond with Maddie a lot, because I was like, okay, this guy's on my level. He's listening to me. He's hearing me out. And we would come up with the plans. Then we would kind of bring it to the others. But what's important when it comes to an alliance, you don't want to like tell others what we're doing. You don't want to like make them feel like this is the plan. So we would bring it to them in a way of like, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys think we should split the votes? Like, that's how you bring a plan to an alliance. You don't say, okay, guys, this is what we're doing. We're gonna, So me and him were really good at talking together, and then we'd bring it to the group and make it like feel like we're all in this together. And I would run it by Hannah because I knew she had my back. I could trust her 100%. And like, I feel like everyone else, no shade, but I think everyone else in the Breakfast Club was like, okay, how are we voting? Like, but I think me and Maddie were the ones really driving the strategy.
So Tony goes home here. This is someone that you've been targeting for a while, and like his exit's kind of explosive, right? Yeah. And so I guess if the move wasn't made here, there's never going to be a move with how things go from there.
No, Tony, for my game, Tony definitely needed to go. Great game player, great at the challenges, but I personally felt like after the Melanie vote, he was just tunnel vision on getting me out. I just feel like he couldn't move past it. He just couldn't like say, okay, Melanie's gone. Let me squash the beef and work with Jermin. It's just he was always throwing my name out. So I just felt like we were never on the same page, unfortunately. So I was happy that he went.
Well, I'm curious. So next round, Carrie wins immunity.
Mhm.
And Melissa's ultimately going to go home here, but I know in your perfect plan, Melissa and Trinica have been the last two Green 2.0 standing.
Mhm.
So why does Melissa go home here instead of Ethan?
Well, at this point, Melissa definitely, like I said, she's a queen. We have to strike. If you have the opportunity to take Melissa out, you need to. I just feel like I think we all kind of socially got along better with Trinica and Ethan.
Mhm.
And Melissa's a fierce game player, and if you don't strike when you have the chance, you might not get a chance later because she had just won immunity before.
Yeah.
So if you don't get her when you can, like she could go on a little bit of run, maybe people flip, so you have to take her down.
So with just Ethan and Trinica left, right?
Mhm.
You're at the final 8. Are you tempted to flip? Are there ever discussions around that? Or are you pretty much like, I feel solid with a 6 and I know my end game path within the 6?
Actually, both. I feel great with the 6. I feel like me, Hannah, and Charlie, we have a final 3. We've been saying this from the swap tribe. Sandra said she wants to work with me and Hannah. I feel like that's a 3 there. Kiri's supposed to have me and Hannah's back. We never really gave her commitment, but we told her we were going to have her back. And also on the flip end, like me and Hannah did talk about it, like should we go with Ethan and Trinica, do something? But I think we talked about it and we were just like, it was tough. We just felt like we were in such a good position. I felt like we could go either way, but if we go with Ethan and Trinica, it puts a target on us. So then the people in our alliance are going to target us now, and then Ethan and Trinica can easily say target Jermin and Hannah. Like they might just on us. So I think we just decided we're going to be honest. So me and her go and talk to them and tell them straight up, like we're going to vote you out. We're not going to like lie to you. We felt good in that 6. Me and Hannah. We felt like we were the most hated. We're not going to be the ones targeted at 6.
Mm-hmm. So talking through kind of these plans you're making for when you get the final 6, I mean, what do you think was your ideal path to final 3, and how are you trying to banking on getting there?
My path was my path to final 3 was
before you go, sorry, Turning has a quote. Jermin and Hannah approached Ethan and I like sad parents telling their kids they weren't going to Disneyland.
We did. If I hated that moment. It felt really sad because we really liked them as people, and like I mean, looking at it now, I wish we had turned on the 6 probably. But my plan was to I mean, I just thought it was obvious. Like, is it just me? But like Maddie P is like to me the obvious person to target. He is like the most liked person in the game. Like everyone loves Maddie P. He's so charming. Like he would tell we would be talking and he would tell us like his time on that swap tribe and how they bonded so much and how the tribal was so like emotional and people were crying and he would tell us all these stories and I'm like, this guy clearly has some kind of emotional pull and charm and like even me, like I had just met him at the merge and I felt so bonded with him. So I'm like, okay, it's obvious we cannot bring Maddie P to the end. So I'm thinking everyone's going to target Maddie P. So Maddie P was my main target at 6, and then I was like, okay, I'll take out Sandra after, get to the final 4 with them, and I just felt like let the cards fall where they fall. I mean, I wanted my 3 was going to be me, Charlie, and Hannah. That was my 3. Like that, I just felt like we had been together from the beginning of the game. We had swapped together. How magical would it have been if the 3 of us who were like left for dead on the Pink Tribe made it to the end together? And I was just like, that's where I want to go. It would have been tough to vote Kiri out, but I think I would have done it. I love her, but I mean, if she told me, tie the vote, I would have done it. I would have tied the vote, because you don't lose anything in tying the vote, really. So
where Sandra would not.
Definitely not. She tried to vote me out. So I mean, I thought it was obvious. I thought everyone was gonna vote out Maddie P at 6. Like, he is the biggest threat to win the game to me. I don't know.
I want to talk about your relationship with Charlie. What was that like in the merge? What was working with Charlie like? Because he's gonna be. I'm curious.
Mm-hmm. Well, me and Charlie, I think when after he saved me on that Melanie vote, and then we swapped, that's when me and him really started to like work hard together and bond. I feel like we started to, especially when Tony left. I feel like because he was close to Tony, and I feel like when Tony left, he didn't really have anyone. I think he gravitated to me, and I gravitated to him. I think we were strategizing really hard, and I think we bonded really hard. And just throughout all the rounds from there till the end, like, we were always talking strategy, and we were close. And like, I would always check in on Charlie and make sure he's okay. And I was like, Charlie, I got your back. And he always asked me, you got me? And I'm like, I got you, Charlie, don't worry. And when his name was out there, like, I would try to shut it down. And when my name was going out there, I didn't mind being the target, because I was like, okay, this will protect Hannah, this will protect Charlie. I don't mind being a shield for them. I was willing to use my little burner vote for him and all this. So like, me and him, we were as the game kept going on, I think our bond was just growing and growing and growing. So I thought me and Charlie were like this. I thought, like, no matter what, me and Charlie will go to the end together, because I felt like he was like, I had Nick and Outlast, who was my ride or die, and like, I felt like he was going to be my ride or die.
Sitting with Charlie and Hannah at the end, were you pretty confident you'd beat them?
I was. The thing about me, Steven, when it comes to Final Tribal, I don't think people know this, but I know how to explain my game. Like, I can tell, I can play the worst game, but I know how to explain it. So I feel like, and a thing that I do throughout the game, I pay attention to how you answer tribal questions. That's very important to me, because if you're struggling to answer questions at tribal, it makes me less fearful of you at Final Tribal, because I just feel like you're not going to be able to really explain your game. And I think a lot of us, when it comes to Final Tribal, you need to be able to explain your game, because you can play the best game, but if you can't explain it, I don't think people will vote for you. So I pay attention to that. And yeah, I think I'm really good at explaining my game. I was going to be able to differentiate my game between Hannah, because I made moves without her. And then I was going to be able, I think I would have been able to out-talk them. So that was going to be my ideal Final 3.
So is there anything about the Ethan or Trinica vote-offs you want to talk about that maybe we haven't mentioned?
Not really, but I do want to commend Trinica. She's a fighter. Oh my gosh, she scared the living hell out of me. Just her in tribal, she would be able to like plant seeds, and then like, she was fighting so hard at that final 7 immunity, when you had to hold the thing on the ball on the little paddle. I was like, oh my god, this girl is a fighter. Like, she definitely could have won. So I really commend her. She had me on my seat, on my toes. But yeah, I think going into the love Trinica, I think going into the final 6, I do want to tell you I want to talk about who I think personally everyone should have brought to the final three. Can I do that for you?
Please.
Okay, because I feel like personally, I feel like me and Hannah were the most hated. It was like very evident that me and Hannah we were hated, and that if we did get to the end, we're going to be fighting over votes, right? So I feel like for like Sandra and Charlie, I feel like they should have brought me and Hannah to the end, because you're sitting between two people that are hated, and you're sitting between two people who are fighting for votes. So even if we get votes, we're fighting over them, right? I feel like Kiri was the toughest person probably to beat in the final six because she had such a big resume. So
Sandra, like to contest you for this crown.
okay, Sandra could come for the crown of the hated, but I think if she sits between me and Hannah, she gets all of pink, and I just don't see green voting for me or Hannah. So
Really? That's
I
interesting.
don't see it, because I mean, at the time, I mean, like it just seemed like they just did not like us. Um, I think Kiri could have probably beat anyone that she sat against. She was like, she had a huge resume. And then for Matty P, I think he played it perfectly. He needed to sit with those two, because if he sits with me or Kiri, I think it would have been a tough battle for him.
Well, if you're so hated by green, doesn't all green 2.0 vote for Maddie?
So if Matty sits between me and Hannah,
yeah,
I do think he gets all the votes. However, I personally feel like I cannot talk Matty, so he's lucky I wasn't there.
So final six. There's a couple wrinkles, right? First off, is Kiri wins that Reelfoot trivia, and she has that that she hasn't played yet. No one's for the flesh it, and she has to use it now, right? And so, talk about like are people being responsive to you targeting Maddie? And then like, and did you know that Kiri was planning on playing the idol for you this round?
All right, let me let you in on a little bit of a secret on this round. So this was the trivia for the Reelfoot trivia.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to Kiri. She's on my right, and Sandra's on my left. This is another challenge. Basically, I came second or third, like in all the challenges. This was another challenge that I came, I think, third in. If I had gotten one question right, I would have been in the tiebreaker with Kiri and Charlie, because they were in the tiebreaker, those two. And I think I would have won because I knew the answers to the. So we had to name like the people who came last in each season, and then who came second to last, and then they turned it into the winners. I don't know what the rules were. I don't know, but basically, it was between Kiri and Charlie at the end. They were the tiebreak, and personally, I was like, I can't allow Charlie to win this, because if I can get Kiri to win the necklace, she has the immunity idol.
Mm-hmm.
If I help Kiri win this, she will probably play the idol on me. So I'll just say I was sitting next to Kiri, and I'll just say she won that tiebreak. And I'm happy she did over Charlie, because I think that motivated her and helped her. Because if she doesn't win the tiebreak, right, she has to play the idol on herself.
Yep.
So let's just say she wins, and I whispered to her, I'm like, hey, will you play the idol on me? I really need it, because I at the time I just wanted to be safe. I didn't want to be worried. She's like, okay, yes, I will do that. We're scrambling, we're talking, and I'm like, Kiri, so I'm targeting Maddie P, obviously, because I'm thinking everyone's going to target Maddie P. Like, hello, like,
are people being receptive to your arguments you're making?
Sandra's not, but I don't care, because I'm like, okay, I don't need Sandra because I have Charlie, and if I don't have Charlie, I have Kiri. Because I know me and Hannah are going to vote together, and I'm like, why would Kiri or Charlie not target Maddie P, to my mind, because he's the biggest threat? And based on how the talks are going, I'm like, and then Hannah comes to me and she's like, it's me. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, it's not you. Like, Charlie's not going to turn on us. Like, and if he does, you know, Kiri has our back. So as the talks are going on, I'm realizing, oh my god, like this is not going well. And then I was talking to Sandra, and Sandra's like staring at Hannah, and I'm like looking at Sandra. I'm like, please don't vote Hannah. And she's like, I have to. I'm sorry. She's gonna win this game. And I'm like, Sandra, don't do this. You said you wanted to have an alliance with us. What are you doing? And I was like, fuck. So then I was like, okay. I go to Kiri and I'm like, Kiri, you promised to play the idol. Like, can you just give me the idol? Remember when I gave you the idol at Tribal publicly and I handed it to you before the votes? Can you just hand me the idol before the votes? And she's like, no, I'll just play it for you. I'm like, no, but I just think you should just give it to me because then I can play it for myself, you know? And she's like, no, because then you can play for someone. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, Kiri, I publicly gave you the idol. Can you just publicly give it back to me? And she's like, no, I'm just gonna play for you. I'm like, crap. I'm like,
was it well known that Kira was planning to play the idol for you?
was it known? It was known between me and her. I mean, I guess she told everyone else because she had a plan. But
I mean, could you have said like, you know, can you play it for Hannah, please? And I mean, she voted for Hannah, so it's likely she says no. But
I honestly didn't think she was. I didn't think Kiri was gonna vote for Hannah because I'm like, if Kiri, if you vote for Hannah because you think she's the biggest target, you're gonna be the next biggest target. So I'm like, Kiri, there's just no way you're voting for Hannah. Because I mean, you know, I was like, at that time I thought they were gonna vote for Charlie. And then at the end is when I was talking to Sandra, and she was like, I'm like basically said without saying it that she's voting for Hannah. And I was like, crap. So I was trying to get Kiri to give me the idol. Then I would have played the idol on Hannah. I was trying to do some switcheroo, some kind of trickery. But Kiri's a smart girl, and she realized what I was trying to do, so she just played it on me. And I was like, ugh. I was like, Kiri, why did you do that? Because now you voted out the one person who would have my back, vote with me, and have your back. Because now at Final Five, there's nothing I can do for you. There's 3 of them and 2 of us.
So no one wins immunity, and is it clear to you that Kiri is just going home, or is like, or do you think like I think I can persuade people to vote Charlie here?
So this round happens, and we're scrambling, and this is where I make a final 3 deal with Sandra and Maddie. We agree, we're like, the 3 of us are going to go to the final 3 together. We just have to decide, are we going to take out Kiri or Charlie? So the argument was, Kiri had the biggest resume. She had all the moves. She had 2 immunities. She had the idol. So we were worried about her resume. And then you had Charlie, and I was like, okay, Charlie is the most likely to win immunities because he's really good at puzzles, and the final immunity is going to have some kind of puzzle in it. So me, Sandra, Sandra, and Maddie are talking, and then we come to the conclusion that Kiri should go. I mean, I don't want to push too hard because I don't want it to fall back on me. But I'm just like, okay. At that time, I'm like, okay, if Kiri does go, at that time, I felt like Charlie wouldn't vote me out because we had such a bond. I just thought, okay, I'll let Kiri go. Sad to see her go, but she did this to herself. But no matter what, Charlie's gonna vote with me, and the vote would at least tie. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna push too hard. I made my arguments. I made a final 3. So I felt good. I felt like, okay.
So why did you vote Charlie this round?
I voted Charlie because I knew Kiri was going home, and I didn't want to contribute to that. I wanted to be like, get a jury vote.
That's fair.
I just wanted to be like, Kiri, I never voted you. Can I have your jury? Like, basically, to get her jury vote. Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like that contributed to Charlie voting you out next round at all, or no?
That's a Charlie question.
Because I didn't ask him that. I think for him, it was just like Jermin's the next biggest threat that we're going to go.
Which is hard for me to believe because I feel like I know I played a very vibrant game. But to me, I just feel like Maddie P was the most light.
It really felt like people didn't clock how much of a threat he was at the end.
I guess so, because I mean, I clocked it. I clocked it from the beginning, from Final Six on. I was like, because I even said this to them when we, after the Final Four challenge, I was like, guys, Matty P is gonna win this game. Like, nobody hates Matty P. Like, people have been voted out, and they all feel good about Matty P, even though he's turning against them, and nobody would listen to me.
So, what goes wrong at Final Four?
Honestly, I feel like at this point, I'm like, there's only one way that I don't make it to the end. And that's if Charlie votes me out. And I'm like, Charlie's not gonna vote me out because
first Charlie wins immunity, so like you can't even like
target him. Right. I was like, okay. Charlie wins immunity. And I'm like, okay. Not ideal because I did have a Final 3 deal. But I just didn't think Charlie would vote me because I'm like, Matty P. Okay, to be honest, I feel like me and Matty P were very strong, right? Final. But okay, you have me who is hated. So there's a chance that you could beat me. In my mind, this is how I'm thinking. You have a better chance at beating me because I'm hated.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Matty P is loved. So all Matty P has to do is speak, and he's getting all the votes.
And he's a good speaker, apparently.
He's been talking at all the tribals, so you know how he talks, and you know how the charm that he has, and you know
the accent. The
accent alone. It's like I'm voting you for that accent alone, like. But I don't know what it is. I guess my threat level was kind of high, but I tried to explain to them, like, you're not beating Matty P. Like, nobody saw it.
And so did you know for sure it was you, or you were hoping that like you could persuade Charlie or Sandra to put you in fire?
Going into the Final Four challenge, I felt like the only way I'll lose is if Charlie votes me out, but I didn't think Charlie would. I was like, okay, even if Charlie wins this, it'll be a tie vote. So we get to scramble, and immediately I'm looking at everyone. I'm like, I know Sandra and Maddie are like this. So I'm like, okay, they're probably gonna vote me. I look at Charlie, and it's just like a feeling that I've never felt the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
I bring him over and I'm like, Charlie, are you voting me? Like, what? And he's like, yeah. Like he tells me, I'm like, Charlie, no, don't do this. You're not gonna beat Matty P. Like, please just tie the vote. Like, you don't lose anything by tying the vote. Just send me to fire. Either he'll win or I'll win. Like, I was trying to explain to him that it's better to bring me because I just feel like Matty P was not. I felt like no one could beat Matty P. Like,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I tried to explain that, but I guess it didn't come across. Matty has a charm. He's liked. Like, he's a great speaker. I don't know. I tried my best, but I guess my visual threat level was because Matty P, he hit his game very well. And he brought it at Final Tribal. Like, he really explained it very well. And I knew, like, I could tell. I saw it, and I was like, why don't y'all see this? He's so good. I didn't want to say about Matty P. He told me to talk about this. So there's two things that I love about Matty P. The first thing is every time we came back from a tribal council, Matty P had the biggest reactions, like, oh my God. Like when Shauna got voted out and like, Jordan and everyone, she was like always like this, the biggest reactions. Loved it. And then when we had merged, so Matty P was like lotioning himself, and I was looking over at him, and he had like spots on his hand, and I was like, "Oh, Matty P, do you have is it called vitiligo, where your skin like is patchy?" And he's like, No, it was like he had like a fake tan that he had put on. It was like very splotchy, I guess. And I thought he was like Michael Jackson and had like that vitiligo thing, but it was just bad tan.
Well, nothing fixes having a bad tan more than spending 8 days outside in Tennessee.
Yeah, so I thought he had a skin condition, but no, he doesn't.
So you go out in a 3-1 vote. You're the final jury member.
Mm.
As a member of the jury, what do you look for in a winner?
For me, I look for someone who, it doesn't matter what kind of game you played, but you need to be able to explain it. You need to be able to be confident. Tell me what you did, why you did it, how you got there, and show me who you are as a player. And I feel like Maddie did that. I feel like Charlie and Sandra struggles on that. I feel like Sandra and Charlie, they had the substance to do it. Like they had the gameplay, they had the moves. They just didn't explain it as well as Maddie did. And yes, I did vote for Charlie.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I feel like you're ready to be like, why did you vote for Charlie? So the reason I voted for Charlie was I've had Hannah and Charlie's back for the whole game, and I feel like I knew where the votes were going. Basically, well, based on like how Tribal was going, I was like, and the pre-jury, like the jury segment, I was like, okay, so Maddie's eating it up. Like he's clearly gonna win. But I'm like, Charlie didn't do well in the final speeches, but I know Charlie's game. I know he played well, and I know if he had just explained it better, like he's a deserving winner.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like I could still, in a way, have his back, give him a vote, support him, and show him like, you know, I didn't want him to feel like he didn't do well. Like I just felt like I still wanted to have my people's backs, and I did give him my vote. But obviously during the questioning, I did boost Maddie because okay, so Charlie voted me out. You're not gonna vote me out and just like he didn't even explain like really why he voted me out during the fight. I was like, at least say something like, "Oh, I used Jermin. He was a shield. I got rid of him when I needed to." Like he didn't even say anything about it. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna boost Maddie P. I'm gonna vote you, but I'm still gonna let people know where to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Maddie's a deserving winner, but I still wanted to have Charlie's back, and I'm proud of the final 3. I'm proud of the final 6. I'm proud of everyone. I think this was like a really tough season, and just like great. This was like really great game players, and yeah, I think this final 3 was really good.
How was the post game?
I loved it. It was great to like see everyone outside of the game mode and just like get to talk to everyone. After I think I won an award.
What was your superlative?
I feel like it was undeserving though.
What was it?
They said I was like the biggest male villain or something.
Well, you have a package. Did you get time?
I had a what?
You received a package in the mail from Reelfoot.
I did receive a package. Oh my god, let's see. I got a package in the mail. Do you want to open it?
I think I'd love to see you open it. Let's see what's inside.
It better be a hero buff because I really feel like I'm a hero. I think you guys are the ones who made me into a villain because I was fighting for my life. So, is he a hero?
That looks like it's gonna be a hero for me. That looks blue.
No, this is the
this is the
Did I get you?
I was really like, is this the hero?
No, he's a villain, baby. He's in his villain era.
There we go. Break it open, put it on.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm a villain. You know, I just feel like you guys made me into a villain because I was fighting for my life every round. So you guys did this to me. I didn't choose this life.
You forced me to take out poor Melanie to get that idol too. You forced me to reach over Kiri's head to take that idol away from her. Yeah, I can see it now.
I'm not a villain, and I stand by that. Everyone wants to be a villain. You guys can have this. This is for you. Take it. I don't want to be a villain.
Well, is there anything else about your Riffle experience you'd like to talk about that maybe we had a chance to dig into?
I just want to give so I have this down. I want to give a big thanks to production. So, you know, obviously I was an alternate. So I'm really thankful that you guys called me back. Shout out to Parker, Amos, Pete, Trevor, Josh, Nate, Aaron, AJ. I'm probably forgetting some other people, but probably the best experience of my life. I wouldn't change it. Post game, I do want to give a shout out to a couple people. Taylor, Gaby, Kristen Williams, and Jacob Burklow. Like, they really helped me post game because like they messaged me. I had a really hard time post game because I was like so close to getting to the end, and mentally it was tough to like get so close and not get there. So they really encouraged me with their words and their messages. So I thank them, and shout out to Danny from our season. I had a really good talks with him, so he helped motivate me, and yeah. Shout out to Hannah. I love you. Like, thank you for being my ride or die. Without her, I don't think I would have gotten this far. I love Hannah. Thank you. I'm a hero. Thank you.
Talk to me a little. How did you process your loss, or because you seem in really good spirits and really at content with what happened, but how did you process and deal with that? Because I know, especially because you've come in seconds, going for 8 days and losing can take a lot to process and get through.
Oh man, it was really, really tough. It's like I was kind of like in a state of like I'd rather there was a point I was like I'd rather be like the first juror than to come all this way and get fourth. It's like, and to know that I had a pretty good shot in the final tribal, it really hurt. 8 days out there, man, it's tough. I think for me, I try to just stay in a positive mindset. I try to do things that I love to do, which was like traveling, and I try to just listen to like music and just like do things that brought joy to me. And like I said, those people who like Taylor, Kristen, Jacob, Danny, thank you for talking to me. It really helps me process everything. And yeah, I just try to stay in a positive mindset and think of the good. Like, obviously, you lose. Not everyone's going to win. 17 other people lost. So think of what you gained from the experience. Think of like the friends that you made and the relationships and all of that. So you try to stay in a positive mindset, you know?
Do you want to play some what ifs?
I would love to.
So looking back in your game, what are some key moments that could have gone differently that would have helped you get past the final four?
One moment that I think of a lot is playing my idol. Like I said, I really play for other people over myself. I feel like if I kept my idol at the final 6, I would have played it for Hannah. Or if I had won the final 6 immunity, I would have taken the necklace off and I would have given it to Hannah. I think that would have probably helped me get to the end. Honestly, I feel like I should have made a deal with Maddie P earlier. I know he probably made deals with everyone to get to the end, but if I had made a deal with him earlier, I feel like he would have fought for me maybe harder. And honestly, I feel like there was only one way I don't get there, and that's what happened. Like I feel like every other scenario, I get to the end. It was just one way, and I think. I mean, even if I went to fire, to be honest, I don't think I win. I don't know how to make fire. I just know like you scrape the magnesium, like a dime or something, like a dime about. Put some sticks, some leaves, strike. Like I really don't. I mean, I would have tried my best, but yeah, I think everything happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Because I also feel like another area we talked about is like, at the final 8, your discussion with Hannah, do we do something Ethan Trinica? And you decide like that's too risky. Let's wait out to 6 and we feel confident there.
Yeah. Me and Hannah, we didn't prep. We didn't prep. We said we felt safe, we felt secure, we felt strong in our bonds, but we should have reassured Kiri, final 3, let's do this, whether it was a lie or not. But we didn't. Well, like, me personally, I didn't want to lie to Kiri. I didn't want to say, "Oh, Kiri, I'm bringing you to the final 3," when my final 3 was me, Hannah, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to tell her, "Yeah, I'm bringing you to the end," and then cut her. Like,
well, then there's the answer. You need to reassure Charlie because Charlie does not vote with you a single time from final 6 onwards.
Charlie was doing whatever he wanted to do. I reassured Charlie from the merge on. I told Charlie, I'm with you. Let's do this. Me, you, and Hannah. Even during that final 6 scramble, I'm like, it's us 3. No matter what, let's just tie it if we have to. So I don't think I didn't reassure Charlie. I just think he was doing his own thing. Yeah. I don't know.
You up for some rapid fire questions?
Yeah.
So, who surprised you the most this season?
Oh, surprised me the most. Definitely Kiri. Obviously, I played with her in Canada. Completely different player. We'll say hero in that season, villain in this season. She has grown so much as a game player. And Charlie definitely surprised me from the beginning of the game. You think he don't know what he's doing? He knows what he's doing. He's smart. I really wish he was able to explain his game because he definitely had the substance to win. But he was really good. Yeah.
Who do you wish you had a chance to work with but didn't?
Definitely Jeff, my baby daddy. But also I would say Shauna. Like I did work with her on that Blake vote, but when I met Shauna, we clicked so much. I feel like if we started this game together, me and Shauna would have ran circles around people, right? Because Shauna was not afraid to make moves. Okay, love my girl Hannah, but she was like, I don't want to do that. Don't tell me about that. I was like, I need someone who's ready to cut throats. Okay. So I think me and Shauna would have done damage.
Let's say Reelfoot's going to have a returning season. Who's one player from your cast you'd like to see that come back that's not yourself?
I'm going to give 2. Sorry. I think my first person is going to be Melissa. She's the queen, obviously, really good game player. I think with a couple tweaks, she can definitely win Reelfoot for sure. I think also Trinica, like there's a charm about her, something she does. She has a way with her words and her personality. God, she scared me so much towards the end. I think she definitely has a good shot at winning this game also.
What was your favorite challenge?
I really love the challenge where we had to raise the ball into the maze.
The vertical table maze reward challenge.
I felt like I was on Survivor in that moment, like the show. But also because of the feeling of euphoria when it was the 5 of us, when we won that challenge, where we had to swim out and get the fishies. I thought we were going to lose. And when we won, oh my God, that was like the greatest feeling. What's your favorite camp life moment? Favorite camp life moment. I don't know about favorite, but memorable. When me and Tony were carrying Melissa, we were practicing for a challenge, and then there was a snake in front of us. Baby, I dropped that thing and I ran. Sorry, Melissa. I was scared. Tony screamed snake and I ran.
Is it better to be a villain or a hero?
Villains definitely have more fun, obviously. So I'm happy to be the villain. Hero. I just didn't want to be a villain because in my mind, I feel like I don't know why I felt like villains are hated. So I was so concerned about being hated. But then I realized like there are like loved villains like Parvati and Sandra and like Jerry. Like there's villains that are liked, right?
Mhm.
So it took me a little bit of time to process that. I was like, okay, you can be a villain and liked. So yeah, definitely more fun to be a villain.
What would you do if you found a public idol, or you found an idol publicly?
What would I do with it?
Yeah, so let's say that idol you find during the Blake vote, everyone sees you grab it, and everyone knows you have it.
If everyone knows I have it, oh god, the Blake vote. I'm gonna play it because I don't know. I just feel like if everyone saw me, maybe they'll switch their votes on me. Um, so I would just play it immediately. Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's played out last and wants to play Reelfoot?
Ooh. Um, the game is definitely twice as long, so I would say be ready to be, prepare yourself mentally and physically. I would say to really work on strong bonds in the beginning because that can help carry you to the end. And I would say, um, Reelfoot has taught me like you're not hungry, just drink water. Like, yeah, because I thought I was gonna be like in pain from hunger. I just kept drinking water, and I lost 6 pounds. So if you want to lose some weight, play Reelfoot. Mm-hmm.
If you can go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before coming out the Reelfoot, what would you tell yourself?
Stop playing for others and play for yourself. Okay? Because I don't know why I was playing so hard for my allies. Play for you.
I feel like playing these games have taught me to play selflessly.
Yes, I
I
need to
think
be more selfish.
this is like my second game. I go out early and I just sit there like I don't even feel like I played. I felt like I was like, why did I come out here? And it was such like a letdown of a feeling. It's like I never want to feel that way ever again.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I played way harder to protect others over myself. I didn't care what happened to me. I knew votes were coming my way, and I didn't even try to stop it because I was like, because I could have thrown Hannah and Charlie under the bus, but I didn't do that. I was just like, I'll let the votes come to me. I'll take the shots. How many shots was it, Steven? 16, 17?
Double checking. I believe you are at 17 votes, the highest
17
of the
shots.
season, and pretty
Yeah. So y'all are welcome.
And last question: what has this experience meant for you?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, don't think I'll find a better experience. This was just life-changing growth, like mentally, physically. I feel like I found a new group of family, friends. I feel like I pushed myself not only in the game but like with the challenges, like
Mhm.
so close. I came second or third in like every challenge. I was like really pushing. I'm proud of myself. And yeah, like I love the game. I mean I love Big Brother way more than Survivor, but Reelfoot like will always have a special place in my heart.
Well, Jermin, thank you so much for taking the time to be the bookends of these interviews, for talking through your game, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out to our season. It was really good. And I love all of you. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This was the last Surviving Reelfoot, the Decennium deep dive interview, but there will be more content in the future when episodes come out. Expect to see and hear from me again. It'll be exciting to relive the season, but from a more edited perspective. And so I'm very excited to see what Aimless has cooking and in store for all of us. So, Jermin, thank you once again. And everyone tuning in, have a good rest of your day.